Happy Monday, friends. We're back. June 10th, 2024, Virtual Strangers, episode 214 is on the air. I am your host, Wes, and with me always is my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, do I sound okay so far?
So far, I did hear a little bit of crackle, and I don't
Damn
know.
it!
It's like I was hoping that there'd be none, but it's better. It does sound a lot more better and tuned in. But I wanted to ask you the important question: if you heard the big news that apparently iPhone now lets you move icons, so you can be excited. I didn't know, and I don't use iPhone.
Wow.
Never would again, but. I didn't know that was a thing. I'm more shocked that you couldn't do it before. Like that's a big deal.
Man, Apple really locks down their fucking platform, don't they?
Yeah, no, this is where your fucking icons. Well, there's gonna be a lot of confused people. They're like, "What the hell? Where'd my they're moved." That'd be a good trick.
So do Apple's icons, are they called like icons with a small I and a capital cons, like everything else Apple does?
Yes, I think so. Paradise Decay says he's got to go to bed. It's 2:30 in the morning. Thanks for hanging out as long as you did, PD. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the replay.
Yeah, man, Mom keeping PD up late tonight, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so it's an ongoing struggle with the microphone, ladies and gents, and it's not the microphone, it's not the interface,
It's not the internet.
It's definitely not the internet. We are on fiber now, as predicted, over over 3 times the download speed now, and it was something like fucking 20 or 30 times on the upload speed. The steel that I sent you, Roots, with the upload was conservative. I've done subsequent testing, and it's like
God.
way higher even than that. So it's not the internet, and it's not the microphone. There's something, it has to be something in my computer, man. Has to be something with my USB or my power supply.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, that's what
Maybe I
would.
maybe I should invest in shielded cables. Maybe we're getting interference. I don't know, man.
If there's anybody out there that knows anything about computers, we've ruled out a lot. It's not internet. Old Darth thought it was. It's not we know it's not the new mic because it would happen with the old mic.
Yeah.
So
That,
you know,
and that's the thing. So, Diss Track Ted is asking which interface do I have, and I don't have a great interface. I have a Focusrite interface, but I was having this problem before I even switched over to XLR. I was having this problem with multiple microphones before I switched.
Do you
actually it's this crackle that led to me getting the XLR to try to fix it.
Do you have a PCI Express slot open in your computer
I probably have a ×1 open
that you can use for Spry says Wes needs a USB card. And so it wouldn't be bad to get a dedicated USB 3.0 card and just have it for just like a couple of your major things. It frees up everything else. It'll be on its own network and of power, and you know.
Yeah, I think I could. I probably got one of the short ones. Like I've got 2 of the big ×16 ones, but it's just worthless in this day and age because the NVIDIA graphics cards are so fucking thick. They just block it anyway.
They need to redesign these things. They're not designed for the cards right now. Like you're right, it blocks half the shit, and you're like, oh, I need to get my NVMe slot out. Oh, I got to take my 4090 out. No, forget it. Like, because it's on a bracket, and it's like, it's very elaborate and very solid in there. I don't want to fuck with it.
So yeah, I have 2 choices, and they're both in the chat right now, and I've been debating on which one to go for first. And they're both cards, right? I could either get a dedicated USB hub to have even more USB. And by the way, I've got a pretty solid new MSI motherboard that worked forever. It worked forever before. Well, it worked since January or December, so it worked for about 5 months before it started fucking up. So if it's USB, then something just has recently failed. but whatever it is, it just has recently failed. So I mean,
Mm.
I could either try the USB hub first, or I can try to get a dedicated sound card first. That it seems like one of those two things would be likely. I'm also right up against the limit with my power supply though, and that has me wondering if maybe something like that, because I get false positives all the time when I start gaming. My cooling system gives me an alert for like a power overload or something like that.
Mm.
And I read on the like Corsair forum that's just a bug, that it's not an actual alert. But it has me wondering, and you know what else? I think I'm using a Y cable on my 3080 Ti instead of using three single cables to it. I don't think my power supply had um, three spots to do three individual cables to power it.
Oh.
So I used one cable, and then I used another one that had like the Y that had two plugs on the end, which is supposed to be fine. I did the research on it. It's supposed to be just fine doing that, but it makes me wonder if maybe I'm having some kind of a power issue. Um, because it would make sense that having fluctuations in your power through your motherboard would cause interference in a lot of different things, right?
That's true. That's true. Adam says it's buffer sample rates. Just it. Just you fix it.
Sample rate.
I don't know what that. I don't
You
know
know what?
exactly.
I changed my sample rate to try to um to try to deal with it. Let me see here. Where
Distracted
my
says
sample?
also try putting your round trip latency in safe mode. And I'm starting to laugh because I'm seeing what this is turning into. This is like the
I already knew what it was going to
troubleshooting
be.
podcast. We got this, Wes. Let's do this.
I already knew what it was going to be, bro. Let's
You
see
got
here.
it in the notes, Mike check. Well, this is it.
All right. So should I try to fix something in real time here if it
You can.
means me going away for like 2 to 3 minutes?
I mean, what do you have to do?
Well, I was going to try to change my bit rate in Windows to match up with everything else, but
Is that gonna? It
anytime
can't hurt.
anytime I change something in Windows, it kills my microphone and Discord and everything. I have to
Oh no, that's
kill
fine.
everything and bring it back up.
That's fine. People
All
can
right,
still see you. That's
let's
enough.
try let's try it in real time here and see what happens.
Yeah,
So I'm on 96,000 hertz bit rate right now. I'm
okay.
going to take it down to 48,000, which is the bit rate on fucking everything that I use. I always set everything to 48,000.
I thought that's what they
So,
recommend too.
yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to 48. As soon as I hit apply, I imagine my microphone's probably going to stop working.
Brian says, "Am I wrong, or do we only hear the crackling only when he gets a little loud?" Does seem like it's very sporadic, and it could be like when you're getting louder.
So, distracted. Ted says it should be 44. And then he says 192. Okay.
Is that
We'll go
two
to
different
44
settings?
then. I normally set it up from 44 to 1 to 48 on like when I record and stuff.
Hmm.
But
I don't know
so
about any of that stuff.
GameCap Behemoth is agreeing that that it's when I get loud. So maybe I've just got the gain a little aggressive on this
I don't know.
on the setup here.
I've turned mine up, and my Mash has turned his up a lot, and never heard a crackle before. And it was happening, but well, whatever's going on is happening with your other mic too. So I don't know. I guess whatever gain. I don't know.
So I'm just in my microphone properties in Windows right now. I don't know how to set the individual sample and buffer settings off the top. Maybe if you don't mind sending me some information on that, Ted, that would be helpful.
I thought you were talking to
Discord.
me for a second. I was like, oh God, I don't know what he's talking about. I have no idea, Wes. I can't help you. I can smile and entertain the chat. Try to anyway. Yeah, Looper says just reduce the gain. You can reduce the gain, but then I know what everyone will be saying. We can't hear Wes. Why is Wes not as loud as Roots? Happens every time. like an omen, I guess. But yeah, one thing I have noticed, Wes, and of course this is so far I have not seen your video feed like freeze up or get Robo Wes or any of that. Since you got your really good internet as well. That's awesome. He's gone though. He disappeared right as I said that. He was pissed. Yeah, it's true. Wes should say something really loud and see if it crackles. I think Spry, you sound like you don't believe it's the crackle. Xbox Yank Pass only biatch, and sometimes PS4 laugh out loud with the $2 says thanks for what you are doing for VR Legends. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's fun. That's the thing. So my thing is I've been thinking about why I get so adamant or angry about where VR is. I just like for so long I feel like a good portion of the community has been a little bit complacent as far as like we all want the thing, but some people are willing to enjoy things that I'm just not at anymore. And so like I feel like or felt like for a while I needed to push harder to make up for that. And so yeah. And you're something's happening. I think it's like maybe too low gain or it's like oh, that's Philozic said, ouch. God damn, Brandon says, oh my God, I jumped then. Yeah, it wasn't that loud for me, but it was definitely different. But yeah, no, it was way whatever that you did, I change it back. That's what I say. They were wrong. My ears are murdered. What did it sound like to you guys? Because I didn't. Oh, that's right. Because you're hearing it through the a different thing. So I'm hearing the Discord, right? And you guys are hearing the feed from Ninja, OBS Ninja. And so I guess that's kind of a problem in a sense. I can't monitor his voice. You know, I can only watch the feed on the OBS. So Brandon, you just yeah, what West just got a new mic and he's been having crackle issues for a while, and we decided we would try to fix it in real time. I don't know if that was the right answer, but he should be back in a second. Hopefully it's fixed. It does sound better. The mic sounds better. It's just we got to figure out what that crackle is, right? And I would imagine it's probably like Spry said, maybe or even what Wes was saying, a power supply issue. There's a lot of truth to that if you're like right on the border. I don't know what he's got. I know when I had the 3080 Ti, I was running an 850 power supply, and I feel like that was like on the edge, you know? So woke up your dog, Daniel? Oh man, dude, I'm so sorry. Hopefully he didn't start barking, wake up your neighborhood, your family. That would be an interesting story. It's not the mic though, typical Kiwi. So okay, so Wes's mic was having issues before this, right? That's why he upgraded. He upgraded to the Shure mic. This is a SM7B. That's only been used like twice. So it's a really good mic. It's something is happening with the crackling, and then whatever you just walked in on and heard was not is not Wes's mic. I don't know what happened. What was that, Wes? I guess I didn't. He's not in in the Discord yet, so I can see him, but I can't hear him. But yeah, no, that was definitely not his mic. It was I don't know what settings. It must have been. He must have changed the gain really high in the OBS Ninja. So, but he's working it out right now. But anyway, so who's excited for Batman? Oh, Wes is here. Okay, let's see if we can hear. Oh, it's picking up again. I don't know if. Is it? It's not the Discord settings. He's not come. See what you guys are doing. Well, unless it's coming through fine now, because the Discord was fine before. Yeah, that helps, but now it sounds. I mean, I can actually hear you, and it's clear, but it sounds a little bit far away, or something. Something's different. Adam says sample rate. I think he tried the sample rate. I think that's what he was just doing. Oh, no, that's bad. Oh shit, let me hear. Okay, I'm gonna, something, whatever's going on, I just saw it on the bar. It just went really red, like full bar for them. So I'm gonna turn Wes down a bit so that they won't hear. I'll hear it. I'm gonna take the brunt for you guys. No more for you guys. No more. You can relax. And as soon as his voice is velvety smooth, I'll turn him back up. So I apologize. I should have done that after the first round, but you know, that's he's gonna redo something. But that's High Roots. Okay. A little delay, but I'm still here. I'm just a little delayed. But yeah. So now it's good. Traveling Man says, sound like an alien transmission from space. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm more excited about the Batman game than the Alien game. Just because Servios, and I have a lot of faith in Camouflaj. I thought the Iron Man game was good, and we'll see. And I was thinking, it's a shame I can't play it on my Quest Pro, and I'm not buying a Quest 3. That's fuck you, Meta. But I will play it if Meta wants to. If you want to send me a headset, I'm just putting this out there right now. I'll play your game. Otherwise, I'm not fucking touching it. So. And to solidify that you're probably not going to send it to me, fuck you, Zuck, you cuck. Anyway, now I feel better. I'm going to the Batman segment with that off my chest and be a little bit more optimistic and good. Yeah, this is well, I blame. Okay, I can't scroll all the way to the top. But I really do blame. There was somebody in the chat, you know who you are, that said they, and I think I said, oh, it was Colossus. I do know who it is because I agreed with you. He said, I think there's going to be audio issues. He bet it. You bet it. You put it out there. And I said, yeah, I agree. And so together, we did this. You and me. Yeah, Zuck the cock, man. I don't know. I'm just not happy that. Here's my thing. This is a little bit pre-segment because we're going to be talking about this, and I'll say it again. I'm really not getting to play this game for fucking shadows? Like, you're really taking this game away from me and Quest 2 players for enhanced shadows? Well, what the fuck, man? Like, I could, if it's like gameplay scope and there's like things you can't do, but not for shadows. Like, that's not going to make the game, dude. But you're isolating half the people, more than half. It just pisses me off. It's crazy. I blame Roots too. I do. I can hear you. I actually sound way better than you've ever sounded in the last 5 to 10 minutes. It sounds good, actually. Okay. I did hear a little crackle there, but you know what? After the last 10 minutes, I say this sounds phenomenal. It's just fucking. Yeah. Yeah, it's the game they're taking away is Batman. Batman Arkham Shadows. They're taking it away from Quest 2 players and Quest Pro players. and trying to force them onto a new platform for Shadows. And oh yeah, hey, good idea. That's okay. Let's do a check.
Check 1 2, check 3, check 4.
We got him back,
5
guys.
6. There we go.
There's his velvety voice. I promised. It's there. We did it.
With the occasional crackle. Hey, Roots, if I ever ask you again, should we troubleshoot in real time? If it only is going to take 3 minutes, just say
no. I think I'm gonna work out with your wife a button, and it's gonna be the slap Wes in the back of the head button. And whenever you say that, I'll just push the button, and then she'll just slap you. And because I would never do it, but your wife can do it. So.
This is why we pay SpryGuy the big bucks. SpryGuy, you can put a thing in the timestamps that says technical difficulty, so people can just skip right by all that bullshit.
Skip over it. But yeah, I my advice to you, if you're gonna do anything, is just swap out just go get a USB card, because that's cheap, that's easy, and then unless you already wanted to upgrade your sound card, then
no, I don't want to, but I just need this to be fixed. I need it fixed like now.
Well, I know
time to take 3 months and work through all the possibilities.
You can get them at Best Buy, and I don't know how close you are to Best Buy, but I know or Amazon obviously, but Spry's pretty good with computers. Probably one of the better people with computers that I know, and that's what his suggestion is. Anyway, I think he was saying that before you troubleshooted any of that, so he could. If we would have tried that first, he would have saved you how much time? And then we have someone to blame if it doesn't work. Win-win.
There we go. So yeah, it sounded like you guys were doing our first topic in the
I was asking what everybody was thinking about Batman, and I said, yeah, I'll jump the gun a little bit on it, and I just went into my thoughts. But we'll go. I still told him we'll rehash and we'll go deeper into it when we get to that part of the show.
All right, cool. Let's say hello to our friends in chat. Friends like Travel Man 3775 with the $20 US donation. It said it sounded like an alien transmission from space. You know, I had this earlier today when I took my first meeting at work, and they said I sounded crazy like that. And I literally just swapped USB spots was all I did, and it fixed it.
That makes me sound like it may be a USB issue, and it could be for whatever. I mean, this is the thing. For whatever reason, your USB network could be getting overloaded, right? There's just too many things, there's no way. There could
all
be.
I have in it right now, all I have in it right now is my mouse and keyboard, my camera, and my microphone.
That's too much.
And I've got I think 8 or 10 USB ports.
Here's the
on
way.
My computer, and most of them are USB 3 or better.
Here's the way. Somehow, some way, something happened. Like you said, there was a short or a faulty or something. Like it just happens. So hopefully, it's that, and it'd be easy, an easy fix.
Well, we're gonna start, man, because God knows I can't deal with this. And don't worry, Brian, I've got other computers in my house. We can get our work done on other stuff if need be. So I'll go to my daughter's. I wonder if my daughter wants to trade computers with me. just on Monday. Just on Monday.
Yeah, she would love it. She'd be like, yes.
You know, she's only a half step behind me with what she's got in there. She's very close to my computer, actually.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's great. I was so happy we were able to do that for her. And then, like, her brother, he was the one that really won out because he just asked for like a moderate graphics card upgrade, and he got a badass new computer that's just a half a step behind his sister's. You know.
Yeah, but you guys are the ones that made out as parents that to get to see his. I guarantee the reaction on Christmas morning. It's like that's what being a parent's all about. Not a gift, but just creating those moments, right? That he'll remember for the rest of his life.
He'll remember that. And you know what I'll remember? I'll remember the 2 weeks following Christmas where they were in here every day saying, "Dad, when are you going to build my computer?" Because I had four to build. You know.
Oh man.
But
At
yeah,
least
we
it's
got it
done.
done, and everybody's
Yeah.
happy now.
You did it, man. That's all that matters.
James, it's not the microphone, James. We've done this through multiple different microphones, and I think the cheapest microphone we've tried was like $120 microphone. We've got many good microphones, and they all have the same problem. So it's definitely not the microphone.
Right.
It's something in my computer.
I
That's it. That's all
I'm
it can be.
I'm leaning towards something with USB, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. Just because what Spry recommended, because he does know computers, and then what you said that, it's just switching the USB and just having a dedicated, separate thing isn't a bad thing. I've got one. I always get one just because I plug my most special 3.0 stuff in there.
Wes, most computers run multiple USB ports through the same controller, limiting bandwidth, and often have two controllers. I don't know about my new motherboard. I know my old one that I switched off of had multiple controllers, so I would always make a point to spread out my USB usage. I would use one over here, and then one over here, and then one over there, so that I would use the different controllers that are built in. I don't know about this one. This one may only have one controller in it.
$15. Sure. EV Man versus Gas says.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the money. It's just the time. I need to fix it now. I don't have time to well, let's try the USB. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try the sound card. That's the thing. Hey, what's up, Mateo?
Doing
Joining
both.
us. Let's say hello to our friends in chat here. Matt joining us in chat. What's up, brother? Mischievous Marcio, the Underground Game Cat, is here. Matt, you just missed the 20 minutes of technical difficulty. You should have been just a little bit earlier.
I know, and the screeching I want to know what it sounded like. Actually, I'm scared to find out though. Everyone said it was loud.
Adam says it sounds like the sample rate. I'm on 48,000 sample rate right now because when I went to 44, everyone freaked out and said I broke their ears. So I went back to 48 and then restarted. Ted wants to know if I found out what my buffer size was. I don't even know where to look to see what my buffer size
You know what it sounds like to me, Wes? Like Wes is trying to get on with the show and greet people. People are like, no, I want to troubleshoot. Like, let's fucking troubleshoot, dude. Like, we've tried that, and that was disastrously loud and crazy. I go with
I'm not doing anything else while we're on a VR show. Now, if you guys want me to do a special show once a week where we just sit here and try to troubleshoot what's wrong with our gear, we can do that for sure.
That sounds like an awesome podcast.
Techno glitch, I never sounded that bad. Yeah, right. Time to play is here. Steve IRE is here. Rogue TR, Daniel Kaz. Who else? Brandon VR is here. Daniel, we already said hello to. Shades of Gray Matters here by Lozix. Ezek. Brian Paul from the Without Parole channel joining us as well. Thank you for joining us, Brian. GameCat Behemoth, Chrome Colossus, Ghost Shot, all here as well. Mickey Barrios doing Mickey Barrios things in the chat. What up, Mickey? Mark Pringlesleaf is here. VR SpryGuy is here. Happy birthday, SpryGuy. EV Man versus Gas. Chinatown D, Dan Kitty VR, Alahimbe D, Catalergic Game Cat, Patty Cat is here, Travelman 3775, Typical Kiwi, Jason Westmus, Salvador, all here as well. Rolling Sun, WTF is here. Jay the Foveated Render Game Cat is here. Ghost Shot is here. James is here. The Bad Bantha. Evan Yabu. All here as well. And actually, since I restarted my computer, that's as far up as I can go. So apologize to the legions that I probably missed here.
Oh, they all know that if you're here and you got missed, Wes loves you. Jason Westmith says it actually sounds like a driver conflict somewhere. He had something like that happen to him once a long time ago. It hasn't happened again since. So Yeah.
Driver conflict.
There's another theory. So
there we go. This is what I spend the big bucks to not have to do. It's just these types of things. This is what I hate about PCs more than anything. We've got Kevin Tech slipping in as we do Xbox Game Pass only bitch. Headbite slipping in as well. The handy capable gamer slipping in. Hello everyone. Welcome. Let's talk VR Roots. Let's get on with it.
no
trailer, huh?
Yeah, we didn't even go over the intro.
Oh yeah, I forgot we had an intro topic here. Hey everybody.
I was like, oh fuck, I fucked up.
Yeah, I figured that our half an hour of troubleshooting would bust the intro topic. But since we're on it here, I wanted to ask the question. So Palmer Luckey a few days ago on Twitter responded to one of Brad's tweets by saying that he's going to be attending AWE next week and he's going to be announcing that he's been working on a new head-mounted display. He says that he's working on a new headset. So at first I kind of thought that he might be trolling, because that's a funny thing to say, is I'm going to be announcing next week, when actually what he's doing right then is announcing it. But then we've seen all of these different news organizations come out and report this as news, and no rebuttal, nothing like that. So it seems like this is legit. So I wanted to ask the question, what are these Valve people going to do? You know, the people that are waiting on what's the nickname for the mythical Valve headset that's coming, the Deckard. These people have been waiting on the Deckard since Brad started talking about it 2.5 years ago, and they're still waiting on it. And these are the faithful, right? The PCVR faithful, waiting on this thing. And, you know, some of them are breaking down and buying big screen Beyonds or whatever. But most people are holding out. They're still swearing by their fucking dated Valve indexes for some reason. These people still are slumming it on those God Ray machines, on their third set of controllers, waiting on this Valve headset. Well, what are they going to do now? Because now the other half of the equation's back, right? So back in the day, it was Valve/HTC or Oculus, and they had roughly the same vision, which is the bright PC VR future that never came. And then when Facebook bought out Oculus and changed to the standalone strategy, you know, the Brandon Uribe and Palmer Luckey and all of these guys that were the other half of the PC movement got phased out. But now we're back as we're coming into what I would consider like VR 3.5 or maybe even the fourth generation of consumer VR now. And it seems like the founder of commercial... Come on, dog. It seems like the founder of commercial virtual reality is throwing his hat back into the ring. So I'm wondering what these people are going to do. Are they going to buy both headsets? Or are they going to buy the first one that hits the market? Who are they going to swear their allegiance to? It's been a while since we've had competition, real competition in PC VR. But if Palmer Luckey's really getting back into the game, then this is significant. It's going to basically, it's going to bring us back to the state of things in 2017,
hardware wise,
2025 or 2026 or whenever this becomes relevant.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how people react to it, because right now all there is Gaben and all hell Valve. They're the saviors, even though they've only released one VR game in 6 years
and one headset that had shitty controllers.
Right. Yeah,
that break all the time, that people say are the best, even though they've had like 17 pairs.
Right,
yeah, because the best for me is when I've got to rebuy something 17 times. That's the fucking best. You know what I'll tell you? My first thing when I thought this is like, as somebody that's not really too happy with Meta, like I would be considering this headset. Now I have one caveat. It can't be along the lines of his last headset he created that you would die. Right. If you died in the game, you die in real life. I don't want that headset, but I would get one of his headsets. And I think with the Valve fanboys, I think that's the nice, you were saying the nice way of saying it, but the Valve fanboys, they'll probably get both if the Oculus headset comes out first. And if Valve comes out, then they may still pick it up if it's not as good as they think it's going to be. But I don't know. I'm looking for a reason and a place to get out of Meta's ecosphere anyway. Actually, I'm already out. That was one thing I said that while you were gone. I don't know if you heard that. I said I would not play their game. I told Meta that I can't play it on my Pro, and I'm not buying a 3, but they could send me one, and then I'll play it. And then I said, "Fuck you, suck you, cuck," and said, I'm pretty sure that it's not coming. It's not on its way, Wes. But I would. That's about the only way I would play it. So.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. We'll get to that topic in just a minute. But no, I only put this in here just because I'm curious about where people's alliances lie. It seemed like all of the remaining PC Master Race people have sworn their allegiance to Gaben, but now here comes the resurrection of the other half of the equation, the Oculus faction from back in the day. The ones that sold out, I'll remind you, these are the guys that sold out, by the way, coming back into it. So it's going to be interesting to see how people react to this. It makes me wonder if it's, this guy's been selling, he's been a death merchant for years now. He's been making war machines and bombs and shit to keep us safe for many years. And
he's Tony Stark.
Yeah, right. So I'm wondering if his headset's even going to be a commercial headset anyway. This could be some type of
that's true,
defense sector thing. The military's had contracts with Microsoft before to develop HoloLens for military training and battlefield use cases. It could be something like that. It might not even be a commercial headset.
Well, with that knowledge of what you were saying he's been doing since Oculus, or however long, I would say that's more likely. It's more probable that that's the case. But who knows? Like you said, we'll find out soon.
Yeah, next week, AWE. I'm not going to be there, but I'm going to have people on the ground there, and so stay tuned to XR Update. I'm going to try to get an article up as soon as this thing gets announced, assuming that it's noteworthy. Now, with that out of the way, Ruuts, my friend, let's talk about some damn VR games.
There's a new darkness overtaking Gotham, driving the city mad. The only light left is from the fire in the streets, casting shadows of rats on everything that was once good. Fear is their weapon. But they're not the only ones who can use it. The Rat King will stop at nothing to destroy my city. How far will I go to destroy him?
Camouflaj is testing Quest 3's power for Batman Arkham Shadow. This is from Ian Hamilton at Upload VR. Developers at Camouflaj are spending, quote, a decent amount of the CPU and GPU of Quest 3 to render real-time shadows, quote, at a crisp level for Batman Arkham Shadow. Camouflaj founder Ryan Payton told Upload VR he asked someone to bring in an Xbox 360 to the office with a copy of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and said, and I said, how are they doing that? That's an Xbox 360. Clearly, the Quest 3 is many times more powerful than this. Given the themes of the game, the noir aspect of Batman, the moodiness, and just how cool it looks to have real-time shadows in VR, it was one of those few times on this project where I basically got in front of the team and said, there's no room for failure here. We have to deliver on shadows, and we got to do the work. And they did the work, Payton said. A new story trailer just debuted showing the overall narrative background for Batman Arkham Shadow. Release is slated for later this year, lining up the title for high expectations from not just current Quest 3 buyers, but also prospective Quest 2 and Quest 3 upgraders as well. Quest 2 to Quest 3S upgraders as well. A Meta-acquired studio focused on delivering real-time shadows via the XR2 Gen 2 chipset to make you feel more like Batman in an Arkham game ends up being a high-profile test of Meta's long-term strategy in VR, particularly in contrast to PSVR 2 adding PC support and Apple Vision Pro all in on hand tracking. Quite a paragraph. Payton said that while Camouflaj worked on the project for 4 years, the game didn't have real-time shadows until 2022. Now, there are shadows from Batman, enemies, and the environment. How exactly did that feel to see in the headset for the first time? Magical, Payton said. When we turned on the shadows and the team warned me that the frame rate was going to dip at that time, they had this hallway in one of the other earlier environments in the game, and they put a light behind me. And pretty early in the game, there's an enemy. It's one of the rat cultist enemy types at the end of the hallway. And I'm me, Ryan, as Batman, and I'm casting a shadow onto this long hallway, onto this enemy who's screaming, "Oh no, it's the Batman!" This is amazing. Payton adds, the wish fulfillment of Batman Arkham Shadow in large part is feeling like you are Batman in the suit. So that's why seeing Batman cast a shadow into the environment is an important aspect, but also looking down and seeing that it's not just floating hands. It's the full suit. It's the gauntlet. You look down, you can see the batarang slot on your chest, your legs. The team has done a great job to remind the player that when they look down, they look like Batman. They feel like Batman. Camouflaj's previous title, Iron Man VR, holds a spot on our list of best games on the Quest headset. Whether it was with our previous title or now with Arkham Shadow, a meaningful, deep story that takes these characters that you embody and you go into pretty dark places, the more I can connect the player and make them believe that they're Batman, the more of an impact some of these pretty heavy story moments are going to have on them. What can Camouflaj say about the length of the game in Batman Arkham Shadow? Well, we don't know exactly the final runtime of it, but I can say that the game is bigger, longer, more feature-rich than our previous title, Iron Man VR. All told, we'll have about 4 years on this project. We're really aiming for the game, from a content and length perspective, to be as close as we can get to Arkham Asylum. I don't know if we're going to get there, but the structure of the game is also very Arkham Asylum inspired. What I can say with confidence is that we're going to land somewhere between Iron Man VR and Arkham Asylum in terms of length. Payton says they've taken inspiration from Beat Saber and Superhot as well, so we're extremely curious to see how the combination of precision track controllers and haptic feedback feel when we go hands-on. Arkham Shadow is due out later this year with more details at Gamescom in August. I think with Batman Arkham Shadow, we have an incredible opportunity to introduce many more people into the world of VR, Payton said. Even though it can sometimes feel difficult as you're trying to chain combos and do counters and jump into a special combo and take down, 12 enemies in one big chain, and you can't just believe that you just pulled this off, we're fully translating that into VR, but in a way that's still friendly for most players. So most of that sounds amazing to me, Ruuts.
That last sentence sucks. Really
that
bad.
last sentence really has me kind of worried now. I've got a lot of faith in Camouflaj. As we've noted many times, this is the developer that brought us Iron Man VR, which by far is the best superhero experience in VR, even to this day. I want to know what they mean by that, though.
No, what they mean by it is what, like Stride Fates, you're going to do parkour, but you're really not going to do parkour. That example, not
possibly,
not specifically,
possibly.
but it
could mean something like that.
It just, to me, it just sounds like they're going to dumb down some of the mechanics, and that was my thing that I don't want. And that was my biggest thing. I feel like they're making a lot of emphasis on shadows, and I get it. Shadows are awesome. Man, it's named Shadow, so it's kind of a thing. You know what I mean? But
well, basically, what it is they're bringing something into standalone VR that isn't part of the current kind of catalog of what's possible in standalone VR. Real-time shadows is an impressive feat, even if it did take them 2 years to implement it. Like the fact that it's running not only is a testament to the Quest 3 hardware itself, but to the acumen of the developers at Camouflaj.
I just don't know, and of course, I guarantee that's not the only difference, the only upgrade, whatever.
No.
But my thought is that was my thought when I read it, as somebody that's getting squeezed out of playing it. I thought, well, I'm getting squeezed out, and the Quest 2 players are getting squeezed out for shadows. Like I want to get squeezed out for gameplay and scope a game. Now that is, and we don't have no idea what the scope is going to be. It does sound like it's going to be longer than Iron Man, and I thought Iron Man was a really good game, and I think some of the weaknesses of Iron Man were because it was a translated game from PlayStation 1 that was a completely different system, movement system, everything. So like if they would have built that from the ground up for Quest, or even PSVR 2 for that matter, if it was today, it'd be a totally different game. So I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it's not going to be a good game. I just hope that it's like, if we're polling people, if the goal is to get people to play it, or they're talking about in this article,
the goal is to get people to buy Quest 3S. That's what this game is to do. They're going to put a $300 headset out at the end of the year, and it's games like this that they're going to try to use to entice people.
Right, but if, like they were saying, that they want to get new people in the headset, if it's not like on the level of, say, Arkham Asylum even, which was a PlayStation 3 game, I think, I don't want people from the outside coming in and playing it, because it'll just be another game that they'll roll their eyes at because it's not on the level. I'm sick and tired of this fucking PC flat gaming superiority bullshit. Like their shit's the best, because it is, like the scope of the game and everything, and I want it in VR, and so that's why I get so frustrated. It's like, and I know that there's compromises and there's stepping stones, and this is in the right direction, and it's probably going to be amazing. That's
the thing. It's stepping stones. It's not an overnight thing. Technology takes time to develop, and I think that this is going to more than likely be a pretty big step in that direction.
I just don't think developers understand that gamers want to play like really deep games. You know what I mean? Like, not every game has to be on that depth level of huge trees and stuff, but there's a reason why all these flat games do so well. And there's a reason why most people that play them come into VR and then get bored and go back to playing flat games. The ones that don't get enthralled by the technology. And so I'm just trying to find that bridge, even if it's a hybrid game, and you know, so that we can play the same Batman Arkham game that comes out next year or 2 years from now from on the PC flat. I want to play that in VR, you know, and I don't necessarily need to play it in a mod, but modders will let me do it. So I don't know. That's just where I come from. But I like I said, I do think this game is going to be really good. Whether it's going to be good enough to squeeze out other headset owners, I don't. Well, that'll be determined. That's what I'm gonna be looking at when it comes out. So I'll have to take your guys' word for it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Quest 3S experiment goes, and how if they're going to be able to really move headsets with any kind of single title. I think it's going to take
There's a couple.
more of a. It's going to take building a library of these kind of games. I feel like more than just a couple of them, but I think exclusivity is the way to go about it. So I think they're definitely doing the right thing here, and they need to show people why they're upgrading. They need these games to show people this is what you're paying for. See the difference between this and what you were playing before. This is why you're upgrading. So hopefully they're able to do that with this title. I'm pretty confident it's going to be good.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I'm more confident this game is going to be good than Aliens. And not because I don't think Aliens couldn't be good or won't be good. I just, the track record of the developers, Camouflaj, Iron Man was really good. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure this is going to be a good game. They've been working on it for 4 years. So
how crazy is that they've been working on this for that long? Like it's their work on this game is what got them acquired by Meta. I mean, they were just acquired by Meta a year or two ago. So
right.
That means they were working on this right around the time that they ported Iron Man VR. They probably were already working on this.
Ah, cool. Well, that's good. I think it's yeah, that is really cool.
Anyway, I'm pretty excited for it. Not long to wait at all. I mean, we're already in June, so just a few more months, we're gonna have this thing in our hands, and more to come.
What are the chances, do you think, that it gets ported to like PC, PSVR 2 so I can play it, try it?
I don't know. With it being a Meta funded game, you would like to think that they would do an upgraded version for PC. I don't think it comes to PlayStation VR at all ever. I think there's an outside shot that it comes to PC, but I don't think it's very likely.
How crazy is that? How bigoted is that? The other way, Sony gave you Iron Man. You could like, you know what I mean? Like do the little swapperoo. Crazy.
It's true. That's true. Sony didn't own the studio that did
That's
the
true.
Iron Man, though. That's the thing.
That's true.
I don't know, man. I think that moving a game like this to other platforms is counterintuitive to what they're trying to do here. They're trying to get people in their system. So I mean, if they do bring it to PC, it'll be years down the road probably. It won't be anytime soon.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's not the only news of Quest exclusives that dropped this week. Another big name title kind of hit us by surprise.
Look closer. In the shadows. Behind the everyday world. Beyond the headlines and the seats of power. A hidden hand. This is our moment, 47. Happy hunting.
Hitman 3 VR Reloaded finds a new target this summer on Quest 3. Hitman 3 VR Reloaded rebuilds the sandbox stealth game, quote, from the ground up, with cel-shaded visuals exclusively on Quest 3. Partnering with IO Interactive, XR Games confirmed Hitman 3 VR Reloaded will introduce dual wielding for the first time in the series' history, letting you use 2 weapons or items simultaneously. Alongside the new art style, Reloaded also promises enhanced environmental interactivity, an overhauled user interface, and improved movement options. Of course, this isn't the first time we've seen Hitman 3 available in VR. Back in 2021, IO Interactive included PSVR exclusive support at launch, before jumping to PC VR 1 year later. While we had positive thoughts in our initial Hitman 3 review, calling it an empowering, exciting VR caper with plenty to offer, we found ourselves less impressed by Hitman 3's PC VR edition. Hitman 3 VR Reloaded's approach is reminiscent of Zombieland Headshot Fever Reloaded, an arcade light gun shooter from XR Games that reached PSVR 2 last year. While Headshot Fever didn't include such widespread changes, considering the original game was designed for VR, Zombieland's re-release introduced a new cel-shaded art style with revised character models and additional animations. Hitman 3 VR Reloaded arrives this summer exclusively on Quest 3, and pre-orders are now live with a 10% discount. So this is interesting to me, Roots. Obviously, well done for IO Interactive going out there and getting someone like XR Games who's well versed in VR to port this over. In terms of features, this sounds better, right? You're going to get both of your hands. There's going to be more interactivity in the environments. All those things that people picked apart the PC version of this game for not having. So good for you guys. You're going to have that. I don't think it's going to be worth what you're giving up to get that. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to trying this. I guarantee this is going to be a fun game to play. It's not going to be as good as the PC version, which is the best version of this game is on PC. Roots, not only are these people giving up some pretty damn good looking graphics, like on PC, I can play Hitman 1, I can play Hitman 2, I can play Hitman 3, all of it. Hours and hours and dozens of hours of gameplay here. 3 full story campaigns, all the DLC and bonus missions that came in free. All of that available right now on PC, and people just turn their nose up at it like it's nothing. We had a lot of fun with it on PC, did we not?
Yeah, no, this is, it's funny because this is yet another game that I don't have to play because I don't have a Quest 3. But I wouldn't anyway. I've already got the best version of it.
Here's what I really don't get. And I know that those are early visuals in the trailer there, but I didn't see anything in that little few seconds there that suggests to me that this is going to be a game that's only capable of running on Quest 3. That looked very much like a Quest 2 game.
Right.
So I wonder why they're making this one exclusive.
Even if it's a Quest, like not a Quest 2, but something that could run on Quest 2, just like Asgard's Wrath or any of the other games they've released, because they're trying to make a push. This is the thing, dude. They don't want me to use this fucking Quest Pro anymore. They want to milk me for some more money. So fuck you, Meta. I'm not doing it. It's this kind of stuff that kind of just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. What I am excited for is for the Quest people that do have a Quest 3, that's the only platform they have. This is an amazing game. You're going to get an amazing game. I don't know if it'll be better than the PC version. I don't think it's going to be, because I don't think
there's no way.
I don't think that the PC version I never thought the hand thing was a problem. Now, and I also sat down, just like you do. And I guess that was a thing with it as well. So like, if you're like somebody like Mame Fan or somebody that moves, or Gerillo moving, although Gerillo would never play this, you move around a lot in your play space, you're probably going to love this a lot more. So there's reasons to play it. I just won't play it. Already have the best version on PC. So
I'm gonna play it just because I'm gonna be curious about it, right? And I'm not saying it's worthless because it's cell shaded. We've seen XR games do cell shading before, and it looks great. And if they get super stylized with the art, this game could turn out to be a very good looking game. Um, there's no way it's going to look as good as Hitman on PC, let alone PlayStation VR. And I'm like you, like the hand thing. It was annoying that they didn't just go ahead and give you full use of your left hand. But it was well enough. Like you could grab the gun, the two-handed weapons with your left hand and aim with it. You could pick things up with your left hand. It's like, I don't know. I thought that the criticism of the PC version was excessive, and I made no secret about that. And as
especially
far
since
as like,
it was game of the year for PlayStation, the same game, even better
yeah,
graphics. You know what I mean? That's what blew me away. I don't know.
better graphics, improved interactivity on PC. There were things you could do with your motion controllers on PC that you couldn't do with the gamepad on PlayStation. Um, so yeah. Um, and as far as like this being a Quest 3 exclusive, I'm all for Meta making exclusives and trying to entice people into the next generation product. I believe in generations, not, and I think that moving on to the next generation is a good thing. All I'm saying is that they shouldn't artificially make a game exclusive to their
You
new
want them to push the
platform.
boundaries, right? Use it.
If it's yeah, exactly. You need to make a game that can only run on the next generation. You don't want to just do it just to make people have to upgrade. You want to fully use the new hardware and say to people, we can't do this on your headset. That's why you need to upgrade.
No, the
And
reality
maybe and, and
is
maybe they do. I'm just saying it doesn't look like it from the little bit of what we've seen here.
well, I don't have to play Quest exclusives. Every platform, especially if it comes out on anything else, it's going to be better on PSVR 2. It's going to be better on PC. So, and you know what I mean? So, and something like this, Hitman 3, I've already got. Batman, I can play a flat, amazing, even new one and enjoy it because I love flat games too. So, like, I'm in a unique position to where I'm not forced to play Meta's game. And so, but I am excited for people that on the Quest 3 platform that are going to get to play this game for the first time because it's really amazing. And like you said, it could be really cell shade, like gorgeous. Like it could look really cool. So
Johnny C makes a very good point and something that I didn't even consider, and he's absolutely 100% correct.
true.
Even with the cell shading, they're going to have halls full of NPCs, and that's one of the most impressive things about
Like that.
Hitman 3 in general is you're moving into a room with hundreds of unique NPCs, and if it's like the PC and the PlayStation version, like they're all having individual conversations, and they all have their own AI, and if you interact with them, they'll interact with you. It didn't even occur to me, Roots, that they're doing that on standalone now. That is pretty impressive.
That's true. Like that when you go into that dinner party or whatever, and there's like just hundreds of people down there. And I'm just thinking about some of the moments in that game, and it's making me want to go back. That was like, it's such an amazing game, and I still think that the PC version is amazing. I think that there's more validity to me of the the sixed off being a little weird for people that want to stand and move around than to the whole controller or hand thing. That was kind of a weird thing to get hung up on.
Well, I'm all for revisiting that. There is so much content in that game that I never got to, just because there's all three of those games were in VR, and I've spent probably 15 to 20 hours in all of it. So like, and most of what I did was replaying missions to try to get achievements and things like that. Like I didn't even play a bunch of the missions. Um, so anytime you want to revisit that, I'm all for it. That's a great game and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to get this key that somebody just posted in there, the Arkham Knight flat game key. Let's see if I get it. Ah, somebody got it. Damn it. So you guys stole my key. No, just kidding. I figured I never try for anything, but I love Batman. So.
You probably already have that game in your
games You're probably I probably do.
They gave a bunch of those games away on Epic Games.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know if they're covered on UEVR. That's a good question. Whoever it was that asked the question.
That would be awesome. So I guarantee within the next year or two we'll see one that's made in UEVR. Isn't, so.
Yep. Anyways, that's enough Quest news for now. Why don't we move on and talk a little PCVR?
The Prime Radiant. A mysterious artifact that can forecast the future. Expressing the fate of humanity in arithmetic. A destiny of darkness, foretelling the collapse of an empire. Will that come to pass? What impact can one person have?
If you're clever enough to open it, I'll show you the future they predicted.
Astoria is the key to infiltrating the Foundation. Gain her confidence, and the rest will follow.
You risk your future. Everything we have built here to join that ludicrous cult? The Foundation is a threat that has gone unchecked for far too long. Who have you lost in this empire?
Foundation's mission is to ensure civilization survives what's coming.
For centuries, you have treated us with scorn and derision.
Find the others and the path will open for you.
It is time to play your part. Stay loyal to the Empire, or forge a new fate in the Foundation. The future is in your hands.
Journey to Foundation has made its way to Steam VR finally. Roots, I was a little bit confused at first when they announced this last week that it was coming, because for some reason in my head this was already on PC, but it wasn't already on PC. This game launched for PlayStation VR 2 and Quest, and only now is it coming to Steam. For what it's worth, a heavily narrative-driven game. I'm not going to re-review it here, but I'll just say that this won our 2023 show award for storytelling in a VR game. Heavily story-driven with branching narratives. It's based on mind reading with a lot of cool like mechanics that we've never seen before in any other game. A little bit slow to start, but if you can get your way through a couple of hours of very heavy storytelling, the game then integrates some action in it and some branching narrative. I got into this for a few minutes today, Roots, just to see. I didn't need to replay it. I just wanted to see what the game looked like, because they're claiming some visual upgrades here. At the very least, they're claiming that it's now 90 frames. It runs at 90 frames natively, and I can say that certainly was very apparent. There was no kind of reprojection or anything for me. With that said, I felt like they could have went a little bit further in terms of the resolution, because it seems like a sideways step from PlayStation VR 2 for me. No, don't get me wrong. This was a good-looking game on PSVR 2. It's a good-looking game on Steam. I don't know I would say that it looks better on Steam. Actually, I think it might look a little bit better in the PlayStation due to the differences in hardware.
Oh, you mean like the OLED and stuff? You know, because
Right.
I was thinking about that, you know, because as you were saying what you were saying, I was like, wow, like I thought it looked really good. Because like literally some of the spots that I was like where the colors pop, I was thinking I was literally thinking today when I went in there that this looks just as good as the OLED. But I've got the backlit um
Mm.
thing, and I didn't even think about it, but that would make sense. But yeah, I guess with just a regular headset, it probably wouldn't even be close. It's just the power of the colors and popping, right?
So well, that wasn't even really my issue with it. Like, I mean, the colors look fine. I think they probably did look better on the OLED. My issue, and it's not a big issue, so please don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is in the context of I was expecting an upgrade, and it seemed like a sidestep, if anything. But my issue with it was with resolution. Like I felt like the graphics were soft, especially in distant scenes, where I was expecting maybe that stuff would sharpen up a bit in the skyboxes, distant
Mm.
areas. It looked good, you know, all the stuff that was right close to you was sharp. Um, but in the distance, it seemed just a little soft to the point where I actually um, upsampled my G2. And let me tell you, I never, ever upsample with my G2. I always downsample. Actually, most of the time when I play on my G2, I play it on 80. Um, this one I played on 120. And not only could I not really tell all that big of a difference, but it didn't affect my performance at all, which tells me that there was definitely some meat left
Mm.
on the bone here. They could have pushed things a little bit further in terms of resolution than what they did.
Bummer. Well, I mean, I thought it looked really good. But I mean, I didn't. I wasn't
Yeah,
like
it looks
looking.
good.
Yeah,
It
I
does
wasn't.
look good. I don't want to come off negative about it. I'm just saying, what I want, Roots, is I want to go into that video settings and there be a slider for
Mm.
resolution, and there's not one right now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you can actually fix what Wes is talking about, to make it even better. My thing is what I want to do, which is kind of actually kind of ironic. Somebody was saying it in the chat. Like I started questioning some of these people today, and I wanted to like slap them around a little bit, but I like instead I started
Mhm.
reading their mind and started using it against them. And I remembered why it was kind of like why Mash really liked
Yep.
this game, right? It's like the way you can use that in the interrogations and stuff. It's actually really cool, and I did think it looked good. I mean, obviously my memory. I don't think I went into the PlayStation VR 2. I might have just barely went in there. Most of my time was in the Quest, so I
Oh yeah.
was really impressed by all the textures looking. Um,
Oh yeah, it's a good looking game. But please don't misunderstand me saying that it's that I expected more resolution as me saying that it looked like it was low resolution.
you just wanted
It's
more.
I just
Yeah.
wanted more. I wanted it to be crystal clear and sharp all the way through to the distance, and it's not.
Yeah.
But it's a very good looking game.
And if you don't have a Quest or a PSVR 2, it's another way to play this game, especially if you're a fan of the series. And that was the thing that really struck me because I was thinking how good it looked, and I was like, wow, like this, I could imagine going in there, like, and you're a really big fan. I think this will blow you away. You know what I mean? Like, I really liked it, and then I'm not a big fan of the show or series or whatever it is.
Yeah, I wasn't
So,
even familiar with the series before this game came out. But I agree. This is a very unique title. We don't have much, if anything, in VR like this. It's obviously a game that had quite a bit of money behind it and time put into it from a very talented team at Archact. So definitely recommend the title if you're into slow-paced,
right.
story-driven games,
Yeah, it's
because you
definitely
have to be
story
able to
driven.
get through the early chapter. You have to be able to get through the early chapters, and it takes a little while.
But it is kind of, I mean, just from the very beginning, the story's kind of intriguing to make you want to know what's going on. So as long as you like a good story, I think you'll be fine.
Atom in the chat says, "I need this game. I might buy it then." Well, not so fast. Don't buy it just yet. Because we've got some copies to give away on Steam right now. We're going to give away two in the chat live right now. And then in 1 week from today, we will draw two more winners from the comments. So if you're watching this on replay, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and then leave a comment saying that you want to enter the Journey to Foundation giveaway. And next week, we will pick two more winners.
Is it bad if I say I hope Atom wins? I just really think that'd be awesome if his name comes up. Let's do it. Let's do it, Adam.
Let's do it. All right. So this is how our giveaways work on this channel. I ask a question. The first two people on my screen that answer the question will win the keys. So now I just have to think of a question, Ruuts. And I can't make it too obvious, because there are people who are already typing in Archiac. There are people that are already typing in the games that Archiac did before this one, and we can't pick those questions. We have to pick something different. So let's see here. What can the question be?
Spry said my mom.
There we go. Good answer. Spry, you're the winner.
My mom!
Oh.
Let's see here. Okay, I got the question. Journey to Foundation is based upon the book Foundation, the novel Foundation from decades ago. The first two people in the chat who can name the author of Foundation,
that's a good one,
will win the key.
Nobody just throwing that out there. There's a lot of people Googling. Actually, somebody might know it.
Gabriel 004 got half of it. Got to get the more important half. Rogue TR wins the first one. Mepper wins the second one. Isaac Asimov is the answer. Isaac Asimov.
And I don't feel bad that Adam didn't win, Wes. And before you say, well, I'm confused. He says he's PSVR too, so he couldn't have won. So it was kind of a waste. I tried. I tried for Adam.
Anyways, yeah, it's not about the question. The question is just a way to keep me from dropping raw keys in the chat,
right?
And having people, having like 50 people go and try to claim it, and 49 of them not be able to.
Right, and this is the thing too, and this is the fun thing, is you say, well, just put in a thing and leave a blank. Well, then people will guess, and then you'll have a bunch of people saying, I'm locked out of my Steam, and like I just starts a whole chain reaction. I think the trivia is the best solution to me. And if you're not good at trivia, don't worry. You're gonna have another chance, right? The second chance giveaway.
This track says I think he thinks I should stop leading the question. So I knew I was giving out context clues by asking the question slowly. Just letting people take their chance, because if they guess what I'm about to say wrong, then obviously they're putting themselves at a disadvantage. On the other hand, I did consider just asking the question right when I was telling people that there's a giveaway, like make people really be on their toes.
Well, but then somebody would say, I think you should give people more lead time. So here's the problem. It doesn't matter what you do, Wes, you're never going to win. And then the answer is what Q2C did, where you don't give anything away. And then, but we're not doing that. So I think this is a good system, and we're sticking with it. That's what it is,
Steve Irie says those two got that before he even finished the sentence. They did not. Maybe they did. Maybe they put it in before I finished the sentence. But I was done reading it before they came through. Obviously, there is a lag, though. Maybe they did, but good on them. It wasn't an easy question. It wasn't like a gimme. They read the clues and answered the question. So they are the winners.
And you have the second chance giveaway, like I said.
That's just it. If you didn't win, all you got to do is make sure you're subscribed and leave a comment. We're going to pick two more next week, courtesy of our friends at Archiact, who provided these keys for us to give away, and we appreciate very much. Thank you, Archiact, for being so awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. It's an awesome game to win. If, like I said, if you're a big fan of the series or just a fan of storytelling, and it's not a walking sim, and it's not just sitting there telling a story. Like, you're interacting, you get to decide which questions you ask, right, and what you do. And I could walk right up and not read somebody's mind, and that's going to change everything. So, it's just it's cool.
Steve says he was 10 seconds behind. There you go.
Oh, yeah, that sucks too. If you're like a little bit behind or something on the internet, yeah, kind of.
Anyways, you all should check this game out. Adam, you should check it out on PlayStation. It's super cool on PlayStation. Not only is it cool because of the OLED panel, but the haptics and triggers really make a significant difference in like the mechanics in this game.
That's what somebody in the chat said, that I don't know exactly where it was, that they said they played it on PSVR 2 and the haptics and the adaptive triggers were next level in this game. So they really did nail it as far as like utilizing the hardware. And not every game does. So.
All right, moving along, we've got a few more topics here. Actually, the next couple we're going to move through pretty quickly because I want to spend some time on the last one. So, Roots, if you would, next trailer, please.
Roger that.
Co-op mode for Green Hell VR coming in late 2024 for Meta Quest and PSVR 2. This from Kevin Link at mixednews.com. Last year, developer studio People Can Fly announced a multiplayer update for Green Hell VR. It has now been confirmed that the mode will be released Q4 2024 and will be available for both Meta Quest 3 and the PSVR 2 version of the game. Up to 4 players can fight for survival in both story mode and survival mode at the same time. Here is a teaser video for the upcoming update, which we already just watched, and that's the whole article. I want to talk about this for a couple reasons, Roots. First of all, we talked about this on Without Parole this past week, and someone was asking, hey, is the story mode going to be playable? And I said, I don't think so. I think it's just going to be the survival mode. It doesn't make sense for the single player story to have 4 players in it. Well, count me wrong, Roots. According to this article, mixednews.com says both survival mode and story mode will be playable up to 4 players, which I think is cool, man, because how much fun did we have playing The Forest?
Yeah, and that was a janky fucking mess, man. That game still, I probably would run good with our hardware now. But yeah, no, we had a lot of fun. I think this, and I'm just impressed by the way this looks. I mean, obviously, we've seen it before, but I've never seen other people in the game, and they look really good. The avatars and stuff, right? They're not all jank. So yeah, my biggest thing that I love about this is I don't have the patience to want to do any of it. Like, so I would never get through the story. But if I could like go in there and like, hey Wes, how do we make this again? I'm starving, Wes. I need some food. Then I could fall back on my party, right? I think it'd be good. I guess jump in the backpack and people can carry me through the game. I like it. That's
I wonder what happens. Like, well, if 4 of us were to just decide to just camp out at the airstrip for like fucking 3 months in the game. And those of you who have played deep into the game know what I'm talking about, and those of you who haven't don't. But it makes me wonder if there's like potential for alternate endings, or it certainly seems strange that the possibilities that would come along with having help in this game, because it's hard. This is a fucking hard game to play.
It is a hard game.
It's trying to kill you all the time.
Yeah, no, I
You-
wasn't lying. Like I imagine like that thing leopard or attacking, I'd feel a lot better if I've got you and Mash there next to my side, right? Somebody's already attacking them. Some of my favorite memories of Dying Light is at night these super creatures come out and they're fucking crazy hard. And we got to a point where like 3 or 4 of us would go out and we'd farm them, right? Like we'd get in a big circle back to back and they'd just be attacking from all. It was so cool. And I don't know, I think fighting together would be fun.
GameCat Behemoth in the chat says, I re-download Green Hell for PSVR 2. I hope it looks better. People say it does. People say it got updates. And we talked about this the other day because Bulletstorm just got dynamic foveated rendering support. And that was from the same studio that did Green Hell. So people say Green Hell looks a lot better now too. I know at the time that it launched, I preferred to play this game on Quest actually. You know, PC versus Quest versus PlayStation. I preferred it on Quest. So it's funny because the PlayStation pretty much got the Quest version of the game.
Right.
There were some things that were different about it, but for the most part, it was much closer to the Quest version than the PC version. The PC version had a larger map. They had more of a push button style of crafting than the VR centric crafting in the Quest and PlayStation versions. And I always preferred those two versions to the PC version because not only did the PC version more VRified, but it never ran all that well for me. Like it was a very demanding game that crashed a lot.
Right. I wonder how it'd run for you now on your new hardware.
I don't know, but I mean, my 3080 on medium settings, it was struggling. So, I don't think it was the best optimized on PC, but that's just my thought. So they're saying this is coming to Quest and PSVR 2. Did it never come to the Steam version? Because
but I think they're talking about the co-op mode.
Right, the co-op mode.
I thought this came to Steam. Right, the game. Game. Is that what you're asking?
The game's on Steam. The game's on Steam. I just don't know about the co-op mode. That's what I'm curious about.
Oh, well, I guess that article does say Quest and PSVR 2. The fuck? The fuck?
Well, you know, like I said, it is a very demanding game for one player. Could you imagine getting
True
4 players in there? It could be iffy. I'm gonna look it up right now and find out.
How crazy!
Maybe it's already in the Steam version. Maybe we just don't know it.
I still met Wes's fish. I set him on fire. And what else did I do? I had a couple things that happened in the forest.
I set myself on fire a bunch of times. Yeah, no multiplayer for the PC version of this, huh?
Yeah,
mostly negative reviews. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, somebody was saying that too. Now that I think about Hitman 3 in the comments or in the chat, they said they read that the comments or the reviews on PC say that the controls suck for Hitman 3. And we went
they're not full VR controls, right? You have full control of your right hand. You have your left hand in the game. And it auto grabs. Like you don't use your grip to grab stuff. You just put your hand up to it and it auto grabs. So my point at the time was, when this game originally launched on PlayStation, it was a tracked gamepad game. It did not have motion controllers. You did not have your left hand. You just had a controller that you could move around and both of your hands would follow it in the game, which was weird. PC got rid of that. PC gave you both of your hands and it improved the graphics. You didn't have any more blurry like you had on PlayStation. It was just clear. And my point is that the people that praised this game on PlayStation, like the Upload article said a minute ago, they praised it on PlayStation, but they weren't. While it could have been better and it could have had full use of your hands, it was still an improvement over the PlayStation version. And not only that, it was a beautiful looking game that brought the entirety of the Hitman trilogy
Right.
into full VR, which was amazing and a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it was AAA, 3 AAA games in VR, and it looks amazing, and still is the best version. Now maybe this next version is amazing for those people that love to move around their play space, and for them it'll be better, but it won't look visually better. So
what do you think's going to happen to Green Hell now? I mean, it's already getting review bombed on Steam. So like, what's the worst thing that could happen? People are going to negative review it more because they don't get the co-op? I don't think so.
yeah, no, it sounds like, I don't know how many people are playing it. I didn't think it was bad on Steam. So, but
it wasn't bad. I did like the other versions better. Like the people that defend the game on Steam say that extra bit of map is worth the kind of downgrades in the controls, and I disagree. That they cut empty space out of the map. Basically, all of the areas that are in the PC version are in the Quest and the PlayStation version, but all that empty jungle in between them has been reduced significantly. And I think maybe there was more stuff you could craft on the PC version, like maybe your book of things to build was smaller, but it was already like way more stuff in there than I ever wanted to build anyway. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, to each their own. Let those PC guys go play their PC game if that's what they want to do. I prefer the other ones. I preferred the Quest. That was weird. I preferred the Quest over all of them.
That is weird, but it just shows you they kind of optimized the Quest space wise, right? They probably it was like the perfect amount of everything. So
I preferred the Quest version over the PlayStation version because the PlayStation version, when I played it, looked like shit. It looked bad. In the Quest version, while it had less detail in the environments, at least it was clear. It was crystal clear. So yeah, the PlayStation version supposedly looks better now, and if that's true, then that's probably the best place to play at.
Yeah, if it looks better, maybe that's the one we play it on. If we do co-op,
absolutely. I wonder if they'll do crossplay, if it's going to be platform specific.
That's true. That's a good point.
I bet it's platform specific. I bet everybody has to play on the same one. Yeah, because there was a little bit of difference in the two versions.
It would make it a lot easier. And just for that reason alone, yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I might have misled some people last week saying that I thought that would only be the survival mode. I was wrong about that. I wanted to correct it. Co-op coming to both modes on Quest and on PlayStation VR 2 later this year. Kudos to Incubo.
D just reminded me of, remember I said this the other day. I said didn't Mash punch somebody in the, that Hitman 3 was the one where he dropped his knees and he punched a woman in the hoo-ha. Yeah, it was definitely
can't do that. That's the magic of PC VR right there. You couldn't do that on PlayStation.
Yeah, no, that was watching you guys doing that stream was amazing. Because one was doing it on different platforms, right? It was cool.
That's the great thing about Hitman, man. So they put you in these scenarios where they're literally, like I mentioned before, there's literally hundreds of characters, NPCs. They're all having conversations. You can interact with all of them, and you have a mission. You're on a stealth mission to, sabotage this, kill so and so, and get out of there. So you can do that. You can work towards your mission. There's no scenario where there's only one way to accomplish it. They put you in the sandbox world with all of these different ways that you can go about killing these people. Some of them are more overt, some of them are more stealth, and everything in between. So you can go about that, trial and error, trying different strategies. Um, and then they have a long list of um, like things that you can do for bonus points, like style points. Like they'll tell you to kill them in this way or kill them in that way, and you can go down the list getting all of those before you move on, which is how I played. Like I made sure I got all of that stuff.
And you're a chameleon, man. You can change into. I mean, that's what's kind of cool. I thought about the series altogether, and so like in VR, you're now becoming a waiter or whatever it is, and I just think it's cool.
Yeah, that's right. You role play in the game. You take on and assume other identities to get closer to your target.
Yeah.
What I really appreciate about the game and takes it from being very good to a great game for me is this is one of only a handful of games that I ever enjoyed as a sandbox, because every level is a sandbox and it's wide open with all of these different options, so many different options that it makes it fun to play as a sandbox. So you can go into any one of these levels and say, fuck the story, fuck all of the objectives, I'm going to go fuck with people. So you can take this scenario where there are hundreds of NPCs and you could start stealth killing them and see how many of them you can kill before you get caught.
Or you can just go around and look around and just see how amazing it looks. These environment. Oh, well, not the Quest version, but the PC version. And you can go walk around and you can say how amazing the environments look. So beautiful, right?
Or you can grab an assault rifle and a bunch of ammo and just murder spree the whole fucking
kill
place.
Everybody. Or one of my favorite things is to when somebody's like on a ledge, just run up there, throw them off, and then they're like, oh, you know, like you can, if you do it and nobody sees, you can just walk away, right? That's what's kind of cool too.
Always like drowning people in the toilet.
Who does? You know who loves? Never mind. Well, we're gonna leave that there. Yeah, you guys can,
because you can poison them. You can poison them. They'll go to the bathroom to throw up, and then you can just drown them right there in the toilet.
That's crazy. Well, I'll tell you what. You convinced me. I'm installing it. I gotta play this in VR.
Tune in Saturday, folks. All right, cool. A couple more topics here, and this next one we'll go through it very quick, but pretty significant one.
Dark times await us. Vengeance will take shape.
I cannot sleep. I cannot sleep. I must not sleep. I am terrified to sleep, and I am scared to death to stay awake.
Don't worry, Viv. If any ghosts actually show up, I'll protect you.
Amy?
I'll save you, no matter what.
Just go home, Viv.
Amy!
The local police department asked me to help with a case. Why would they need a game designer? It should have some developer mode.
Dark times await us.
So this past week, the recently announced Blumhouse games came to Summer Games Fest. And as you saw there, not only did they announce their game, they announced their 6 games. They're acting, of course, as a publisher to all of these different studios. But what went over a lot of people's radars, or I guess under a lot of people's radars here, was that one of those games was from developer Eyes Out, which we've been waiting on the reveal of their title since they announced the founding of the studio last year. For those of you who aren't following along at home, Eyes Out is the studio that was founded by the creators, or one of the creator of Here They Lie. He co-founded this studio with Robin Fink of Nine Inch Nails, and they've been working on a cosmic horror game for about a year now. But that's all we knew. We knew nothing about the game. We'd seen no screenshots or video of it until this past week. The game they announced was a game called Sleep Awake. The description on Blumhouse.com reads, from Corey Davis of Spec Ops The Line and Here They Lie, and Robin Fink from Nine Inch Nails, comes a first-person psychedelic horror set in the far future. In the last known city on Earth, people are disappearing in their sleep. Those who remain exist in a crisis of reckless experiments to keep awake. Katya must navigate depraved death cults, otherworldly forces, and the ever-present horror of the Hush to save herself and those who rely upon her. And that's the extent of what we know. So obviously, Roots, we have a very story-driven, most likely single-player campaign here that, as we can tell from the few screenshots and clips that have been shared, very artistic, very dark, very reminiscent of the kind of weirdness we saw in Here They Lie. No word on if this game is going to support VR or not. We had Corey Davis on in October, and we talked a little bit about the project that they're working on, and I tried to pump him a little bit to get him to reveal whether or not it would support VR, and he was non-committal about it. I will say this, and if you're watching this, anyone from Eyes Out, if you're watching this, if you're supporting VR with this title, great. Thank you so much. I can't wait to play it. If you're not supporting VR with this title, I know a guy, okay? I know a guy. As many of you know, that I work for Impact Reality. Impact Reality has a division called Flat to VR Studios that's responsible for, well, some of the people that work for us are responsible for some of the more well-known and better done adaptations, VR adaptations of well-known Flat games. If you're not bringing this game to Flat, or bringing this Flat game to VR already, let us do it for you. We'll be more than happy to. Let's talk. Anyway, Roots, this game looks creepy as hell.
It does look creepy. I thought you were going to say you were going to play it anyway. And I was going to be shocked. Like, Wes is going to play this game anyway.
I'll mod it. If it's not going to be in VR, we're going to mod it into VR. We'll make it happen.
That'll be awesome. Well, at least you have a bunch of modders at your disposal, right?
Well, these modders are now legitimate game developers.
Well,
sir.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so modders / now actual. What's funny is it's just like everything else. It's like, I think most of the modders are more developers than a lot of the developers. You know what I mean? They just aren't recognized.
The people that work for us are responsible for Half-Life 2 VR. The people that work for us are responsible for the Madison VR version, the VR version of Madison that just came out last month. That was people that work for us.
The best horror game that's ever been made.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it.
We have capable developers that under our roof here, and that's just to name a couple. We can definitely do this. Hit me up. Anyways, if you'll click on the Eyes Out Twitter Roots, you may have already done so.
Yeah.
And you scroll down through here. There's quite a lot more here. The Blumhouse post didn't give us very much, a few screenshots, but there are some clips on here. They're short clips, 6 seconds each, but there's probably 3 or 4 of them on here. Just today, they released this this post here. Katya must navigate depraved death cults. So it's everything I just read already. But the artwork looks fantastic. It looks terrifying. I suggest any of you that are interested in this title like I am to follow Eyes Out on Twitter. And of course, stay tuned to Virtual Strangers because we're going to be following this every step of the way. There's really not a lot here. There's like 3 screenshots.
Look at the detail of that rust.
You know what I think's weird, man? If you look through these screenshots, they have a lot of red and blue in them, and especially that one right there that you're looking at. Doesn't that look like a 3D image? Like you could put on red and blue glasses and look at that.
Yeah.
And it would have depth to it.
It does, actually. You can almost see it, right? Are you kind of alluding that it looks like it might be VR? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that looks like a 3D image. I haven't put the glasses on and looked at it yet, but it's got that kind of ghosting to it, like those old 3D images.
Oh, wait, that's not that. I miss the days of remember you get those glasses at 7-Eleven, and they worked so well on like TV stuff. Elvira. Good old days.
Yeah. Friday the 13th, part 3.
That's right, 3D. All gimmicky and stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, like I said before, there's not a lot out there on this right now. There's 3 screenshots. There's like 3 6-second clips on Eyes Out Socials, and the little bit of a description which we just read. I will say this, judging by what they're showing here and the premise of the game, I think it bodes well for someone like me who's into surrealism. I can only imagine what kind of nightmarish scenarios they're going to be able to create based on your character being completely sleep deprived, right? There's going to be a lot of hallucination and a lot of like dream sequences and things like that, I would imagine, which is what I absolutely love.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for this.
We need a Nightmare on Elm Street VR game, right? Where Freddy's chasing you. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure people knew that was out there. We've talked about it so many times already. So I thought the fact that we've got some information to share now was pretty cool. I didn't see anybody else talking about it. So I wanted to make sure people are following along and keeping score at home. Anyway, with that said, let's get to the main event, the last headline, and we're going to spend a little bit more time on this one, I feel. Hellsweeper VR, implementing dynamic foveated rendering for PSVR 2 and cross-platform optimization. This is from the Mixed Realms devlog. So this is from the developers themselves of Hellsweeper VR. And I read this. I found it very interesting last week. It details the process that they went through to bring dynamic foveated rendering to PSVR 2. And, a lot of people make a lot of statements about, what every developer should be doing this.
They're lazy.
And they're
and
lazy.
I've said
yeah,
that.
not
Yeah.
all this stuff, and people don't really understand what's potentially goes into it.
Yep.
So I thought we would take a closer look at that so that we could all understand a little bit more. Anyway, on March 28th, 2024, our team crossed one of the most challenging milestones in the development of Hellsweeper VR. 6 months after its launch, we managed to implement eye-tracked dynamic foveated rendering for PSVR 2 as part of the Wrath update. The resulting performance boost then enabled us to drastically improve the visuals, and they show a side-by-side comparison here, and it is pretty drastic. In the process, we also managed to enhance the graphics on other platforms, PCVR, Meta Quest, and Pico, because redoing the entire pipeline to enable eye-track dynamic foveated rendering for PSVR 2 meant we could start fresh and revisit the other builds too. This article covers what we learned after half a year of breaking our game apart in order to rebuild a better version of it. We are not experts, just learners. It's important that we preface this guide by saying that every project is unique, and there are often multiple ways to tackle the same problems. What we are sharing is based on our own experience, which may not necessarily be the most optimal workflow. So we'd love to hear from other developers who might have a better or different approaches. With a small team coming off an older Unity workflow, we had to figure out a lot of things by trial and error, going through platform and engine documentations and studying tutorials created by other amazing devs online. We're grateful to have found our way out of the woods, but we probably wouldn't want to go through it again. By compiling this guide, we hope to help other indie VR devs caught in the Unity transition or facing optimization hurdles. Our main challenges. Hellsweeper at its core is a fast-paced action game similar to our first game, Sirento. Players fight their way through hordes of demons while performing high-octane actions like somersaulting, wall running, double jumping, and more, and mastering various types of weapons and magic. In short, there's a lot going on, especially coupled with the realistic art style that we were going for. But unlike Sirento, there are elements that made it more challenging to optimize. Elements like more organic-looking surfaces due to the hellish theme. Flat surfaces are usually easier to optimize. Loads of magic in the mechanics. Particle effects increase performance requirements. More enemy types and locations. This means more textures and more materials. Based on the available options back then, PSVR 2's eye-track dynamic foveated rendering plugin required at least Unity 2022.2 and the Universal Render Pipeline. We recommend the Universal Render Pipeline for most VR developers because URP will be our first render pipeline to support some of PSVR 2's unique features such as foveated rendering and gaze tracking. That's from the Unity blog. This was very bad news because we were using the built-in standard pipeline, and switching pipelines is a massive undertaking. It's important to note that we started coding Hellsweeper at the start of 2020. During that time, the Universal Render Pipeline was quite unstable, so while it showed a lot of promise, it was just too risky. The specs and the requirements for PSVR 2 were also not available yet. We didn't know what we didn't know. So when it finally happened, we were one of the studios caught during the transition. Updating Unity and implementing the Universal Rendering Pipeline. Short of rebuilding the entire game, updating to a new Unity version and switching from the standard pipeline to the Universal Pipeline was the only option to move forward. First, we switched to Unity 2022 3.7 because our version of Unity wasn't compatible with PSVR 2's Foveated rendering plugin. The switch messed up some of the physics in the game. Then we converted our render pipeline from SRP to URP. The transition broke a lot of things. Many of our original shaders became incompatible with the universal pipeline, resulting in a sea of purple materials, purple enemies, purple effects, purple water. We despised purple for quite a while. We had to either update the shaders or search for compatible ones that could deliver similar or even better results. We used mostly third-party shaders as we didn't have an in-house shader expert who could just code them from scratch. And as you can see from the picture there, everything in the game turned purple when they first started trying to do this transition to get over into the universal pipeline. Upgrading Unity's version often brings significant alterations to light baking. As a result, we had to revisit and redo all lighting for all platforms. The shift to URP rendered many third-party graphical plugins incompatible. Like the shaders, we had to search for suitable alternatives and tweak them according to our project. New project settings. This isn't technically broken, but we needed some getting used to. The universal pipeline introduced project settings that differed substantially from the standard pipeline, and we had to learn our way through new processes. The whole transition from standard to universal was a very labor-intensive process. But on top of unlocking compatibility, another good thing came out of it. As we needed to search for errors, we had to review every single corner in the game. And in the process of fixing errors, we were also able to improve some textures and 3D models, either to make them prettier or to further optimize them. Once most of the visual anomalies caused by the universal transition were resolved, implementing fixed foveated rendering or eye-track dynamic foveated rendering was actually pretty straightforward. We tested fixed foveated rendering first, and while it improved performance by about 10 to 15%, it wasn't enough to make a meaningful difference. We initially had issues getting eye-track dynamic foveated rendering to work, due to an embarrassing noob mistake that we'll talk about later. But eventually we made it happen. The main challenge was mainly in finding the right settings that could give us enough performance boost to use for beautification while maintaining just enough to keep the game stable. Final results: a 15 to 35% boost in performance. Here's an overview of the enhancements that resulted from all the combined optimization techniques, in addition to eye-tracked dynamic foveated rendering. Render resolution. We managed to boost the core render resolution from 0.75 to 0.9 in a week 1 patch, and then to 1.5 after eye-tracked dynamic foveated rendering. This was the most noticeable improvement. To address the jittery lines around 3D models in the games, we turned on multi-sample anti-aliasing, significantly reducing visual artifacts. We improved shadow quality by increasing the resolution and incorporating the highest level of shadow cascades. We would have loved to implement soft shadows, but they're just too resource intensive. We managed to bring our PCVR particle effects, to PSVR 2, with higher particle counts and more intensive effects. Lastly, one of our biggest challenges with cross-platform development was finding the right shaders. Some shaders worked both well on both mobile and PC, didn't work on PSVR 2. So we had to spend a lot of time testing and experimenting with different shaders to ensure that they perform well and look good on all platforms. Then they put together a chart here: fixed foveated rendering, dynamic foveated rendering, and then additional optimization, which some interesting things which we just talked about. Improving the game's stability. Optimization is an ongoing process. Since the release of the Wrath update with dynamic foveated rendering, we've rolled out 3 hotfixes addressing crash reports on PSVR 2, among other things. We traced the issues back to incompatible shaders, specifically the ones used for hands-only avatar and the hair/fur. The feedback has been positive, and we'll continue to monitor reports related to the game's stability as we work on new content. Dynamic foveated rendering is awesome, but it's not a miracle cure. While fixed foveated rendering or dynamic foveated rendering are wonderful tools that can significantly free up performance requirements, in most cases they should not be used as the main method to optimize games that are hitting performance limits. We went through multiple rounds of optimization using several other methods we'll cover below during the 6 months of transition. We were constantly working on optimization, eating, breathing, and dreaming about it. Some of the optimization methods apply to both mobile and high-end graphics, while some only apply to mobile. We decided to compile all of them regardless of platform, since you're looking forward to developing various devices with different computational capabilities. It's important to be available with all the options. And I'm not going to read through all of this stuff here. This is a pretty long thing. We're about halfway through it right now. They optimize audio. They use packed maps. They used occlusion culling, real-time shadow performance. They did a section on that here. This is the last section I want to read through here because it ties into something else I've talked about before. It's called From Multi-Pass Rendering to Single-Pass Rendering. Initially, we used multi-pass rendering for PCVR and PSVR 2 without any issues. However, after switching to the universal pipeline, we encountered problems. Many shaders stopped working, rendering only in one eye, and the frame rate for PSVR 2 dropped below 90 frames per second. So, we decided to switch to single-pass rendering on all platforms. This not only resolved the problems, but also provided a much-needed performance boost. But note, as of March 22, 2024, a newly released Unity development kit seems to address an issue that stemmed from single-pass rendering not working accurately with dynamic foveated rendering on PSVR 2. This wasn't relevant to us as we never faced this problem. We're not familiar with this version of Unity, so we can only assume that this might be related to more complex features rather than baseline capability. Okay, so what they're saying here is it was only recently that using single pass rendering and dynamic foveated rendering could be done together due to a problem with Unity. And I wanted to bring this up specifically because this is the problem that Madison VR had. They were using single pass rendering from the beginning, unlike Hellsweeper, who eventually switched to it. And when they did that, it broke dynamic foveated rendering, and they had to wait on this update to Unity to fix that problem. And if you guys can remember, that was the last delay, right? They were set to launch. This update came from Unity. They decided to delay one more time so that they could bring in DFR, and this was why. And I said at that time, because a lot of people were reporting at that time that dynamic foveated rendering was not compatible with Unity before, and an update made it compatible for the first time. And I said then that that's not true. Dynamic foveated rendering has always been compatible with Unity, but not with single pass rendering, which is what Madison was using. And when I said that, I got comments of people saying that I was pulling shit out of my ass and that I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, there it is in black and white. You can all suck it.
Right.
And we'll leave it at that. Anyway, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is perhaps we should all pump our brakes here when we start trashing these developers for not doing this out the gate. Like they said here, when they started developing this game, they didn't even know what the specs of PSVR 2 were. And it was years in the development that they found out that their version of Unity didn't even support the feature. And in order for them to switch to it, it was 6 months of basically tearing their game down and completely rebuilding it with new shaders, new everything, a new rendering models, a new pipeline in Unity. Like, I can't believe that they actually went through doing all of this Ruuts, because it only looked bad on PSVR 2 when it launched. It looked great on PC and didn't look too horrible on Quest. They did all of this just so it would look great on PSVR 2. I think they deserve to be recognized for that and
Right.
commended. And I think all the other developers that go through all of this deserve a pat on the back. But the ones that can't afford it, I mean, 6 months of development time is expensive, man. That's a
Right.
half a year of work.
And
So the
they
ones that can't,
could barely get it done to begin with, right? So
Yeah.
you just run with what you got. My thing to focus on is fucking Sony, man. Like, how many developers out there were in the same boat? They didn't know. There was so many times we heard that developers didn't even have a kit yet. You know what I mean? And they were supposed to be making this game for them. They got the kit so late. It's kind of part of the reason why we didn't have a lot of games come out, right?
That's right.
So, like, I don't know,
well,
man.
they didn't even finalize the specs of the thing until like 6-9 months before the thing launched.
That's
like
crazy.
They moved quick on it, bro. And Virtual Resistance says it was one of the best sellers on PSVR 2 at launch. Yeah, man, it was. We were all hyped for it. And then we all destroyed them when it launched in the state that it was in. It looked shitty on PlayStation VR 2. To be honest, they
were lazy.
They shouldn't have launched it.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, they were lazy. Right,
Well,
lazy.
here's the thing.
Lazy devs.
And so I do retract that to some extent, and I'll put an asterisk next to it because there are going to be devs out there that are too lazy to do it. And it's not, they just don't want to do it. I would say the majority of them probably fall into a crunch where they just don't have the time and money to do everything that they just laid out. That's a lot. But if you do, here's the lesson I learned Wes. The game runs better, looks better. It's like all around a better game on every platform now. Every game, every developer should be doing this if you can. Like,
right.
It's what I was saying before. It's fine-tuning your game. It's making it the best version. Like, this thing is your legacy is built upon this game and every game after it and every game before it. And if you don't think that way, then you're very short-sighted and you're destined to not be one of the great companies out there. So,
you know what else? Now, this is a very unique game in the catalog. Like that, this is the hardcore parkour game that everybody always wants. It's here now, and there's not going to be any other games like this, like for years. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I mean, Sirento was the only one to do what it did, and this is a big step up from Sirento.
Right.
So now that they've got it in line on all platforms, they're going to benefit from this long term. This 6 months that they put in as an investment, like you said, all platforms benefited from it. And now this should turn out to be a premier title, just so long as people like us remember to remind people that this game's out there and it is better now, and people should go play it.
You know what else I thought was awesome, and somebody in the chat said this earlier. How cool is it? And you don't see this too much in the gaming industry overall. You do in VR more than flat, but like these devs are like, hey, all you other competitors out there, because they're clearly not really looking at them as competitors. They're trying to help the whole VR industry rise. They're saying, hey, this is how you fix it. Like, we want you all to do this. And I thought that was really cool because I think for that alone, people should support them.
So kudos to you. Not only did they go through all of this work to basically fix it on PlayStation and make it comparable to the PC version, but they documented all of their work and they're sharing it so that other people don't have to go through what they went through.
Right, and that helps all of us, because how many games down the road are going to be, we will never know, that are just going to release with foveated rendering, and it's because of this work that they took. Instead of taking 6 months for them, maybe it takes another developer 6 weeks, whatever. So
kudos to Mixed Realms. Well done. Hellsweeper is amazing now, and everybody go buy it if you haven't bought it already.
Yeah.
One more thing before we move on from this, Roots, and I'm sorry, I just can't help myself here. If you'll notice, there was a little reference image after this article on the show notes, and I wanted to revisit a conversation that I had when the PSVR 2 specs were first announced, and this was right before Anthony's quit YouTube. He was on Twitter basically trashing it the way that he likes to do, and he tagged John Carmack in it. And he said, ask John Carmack what he thinks about real-life usage of foveated rendering. You'll probably be surprised by his response. So this is basically Anthony saying that foveated rendering isn't going to be worth what you think it's worth. And then John Carmack replies, you can't cut down the number of pixels rendered nearly as aggressively as you might think, because several times a second your eyes will dart to a new position, and the latency from the movement through eye tracking through rendering and displaying a new frame shows a lot of blur. And to that I replied, well, I'd be surprised if Sony were to take on this extra cost just to bolster their spec sheet. Perhaps PS5's custom architecture has a unique ability to reduce that latency and thus maximize the effectiveness of the tech. And Carmack replied to that, well, you can definitely do things with it, but many people have unrealistic hopes of 10 times improvements. You won't even get 2 times versus fixed foveated rendering. And according to the Mixed Realms report that we just read, 15% for fixed foveation, 35% for dynamic foveated rendering. By my math roots, that is 2.3333 times. Suck it, John Carmack. I was right and you were wrong.
Yeah, I miss Carmack. You think he's going to go back? Wouldn't it be cool if they got the old gang together? Like Luckey has
I was thinking
his
that
whole
earlier.
team, dude. That would be so cool because they clearly knew what they were doing. And now they all have the, the even more knowledge and funding to do it.
Well, it would be weird. It would be cool because they could put together like this like rebirth of what Oculus was once supposed to be before Facebook got involved. But the only problem with that logic is that Carmack was one of the Facebook guys. He was one of the people that supported taking it in the standalone direction.
And he's helping AI right now.
Yeah. But with that said, he said some very favorable things about Palmer Luckey on social media lately. So it would be a cool alliance to see all of those guys just reform the old team, get the band back together, and revive PCVR in the wake of standalone.
And actually give us everything we want, right? Like nobody's really giving us everything we want. They'll give us the price of what everything we want should cost. But
yeah. Well, I mean, PC gamers know how it is. You want good shit, you got to pay for good shit. It's just how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, good tech. Well, people know, like, if you want to go out and buy a really good TV, nobody's expecting to go out and pay $400 for a big 65-inch TV, Wes, or whatever the going cost is. But for whatever reason, if you put it on your face, well, I guess I know the reason, because Oculus subsidized. Everybody expects that it should be really cheap, and they don't take into consideration the technology that goes in there. I have what I would want to pay, and then I have what I expect to pay. And those are two different numbers.
What's so frustrating is they could very easily just put a fucking display port on that Quest.
Right.
And it would be amazing.
It would be 10 times better.
They wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel with that thing. Like, I bet if they did that, they could do some really creative things with the compute in that. They could do like post processing. I bet.
Right. Cause it frees the entire, you shouldn't be using that at all. And then if in that case you have the whole thing for something else. So that'd be cool.
Hopefully they get back to that. Maybe Palmer Luckey's magical headset will be that, or maybe the Deckard will be that, or maybe we'll never see either one of those. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe they'll both be letdowns. Who knows? I don't know.
People were doing the math in the chat. I was just using the Carmack said that that dynamic foveated rendering wouldn't produce 2 times what fixed foveated rendering does. which means if fixed foveated rendering is 15%, Carmack says that dynamic would be less than 30%. And it was 35. And not only that, I mean, fuck the numbers. The numbers reflect the truth. But even without the numbers, I mean, we all have seen what a difference dynamic foveated rendering makes on the PlayStation platform. It is very significant. Hellsweeper looked like dog shit, and now it looks great. And how many games have we seen this in, Roots, where it launches, it looks like dog shit, they put in the foveated rendering, and all of a sudden it's beautiful, like over and over again, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's clearly doing its job. So.
Yeah, it is a significant technology, and it is what makes console VR in 2024 what it is.
Yeah.
Hopefully more platforms adopt it in the next generation.
Old Darth says happily PSVR 2 will be using uncompressed video on PC. Yeah, I'm interested to see what the difference. I mean, what you say is it's similar, would be similar to Reverb, right? As far as clarity wise and that type of stuff.
You're doing the math wrong, Looper. Yes, I know that 35% is 1.35 of the 15%. I get that. But that's not the way they meant that. Green Hell is using fixed foveated rendering. It looks okay, but performance is very janky. Yeah, I haven't been back into it. If that's true, that's unfortunate. But after reading what we just read, I mean, it might be understandable. Who knows what kind of obstacles that they have in front of them to implement dynamic in that. Hippie Pickle says it's too early for math. Let's just go.
That's true.
All right. Looper says that's not what I said. All right, man. Whatever. My bad. I misunderstood what you said. It doesn't matter. The point is it's very significant. That's all I was trying to say, man. Is that it's very significant. They were downplaying it like it wasn't going to be a big deal. At that time, John Carmack worked for Meta, and he was downplaying one of the PSVR specs, and I thought it was unfair, and turns out it was. That's all I'm saying.
You know what's funny though, and Anthony, well, I don't know exactly. And what was his stance? Was that they weren't doing enough, or what was it? Because like,
oh yeah, he thought that because it was 2K per eye that it wasn't enough. He wanted 4K per eye, and
that's not even the problem, dude. Like, there's so many problems with what has happened with Sony, and it's the way that the visuals is not the issue. You know, at least not when it's done right. So,
right, exactly. Yeah. Oh, what he was really mad about was the wire, if I remember correctly. The fact that it had a cable on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
just blew his mind.
That blows my mind. That blows people's minds. But everybody likes what they would like. Doesn't bother me, but I see that it does for some people. You know, I was obsessed for years with getting rid of the wire until I got rid of it, and then I was like, oh,
that didn't matter, right?
No, well, it didn't matter, but then at the same time, it did, because it didn't look as good as it, even though the signal was sent. It was, now you're compromising. So,
all right. Anyway, let's wrap this up. That was headlines, and it brings us to this week's reminders. Quick look at what's out this week from the XR update calendar. There's some stuff. Neon Squad Tactics on Quest. Roots, this is a tabletop like Demio style game, but it's got this really cool like cyberpunk neo retro look to it. The graphics are kind of retro too, so it's not exactly like going to be beautiful like Demio, but it did look pretty cool and might be worth a look. Black Forge, a smithing adventure. This is basically a crafting game. This whole game is just crafting, Roots. It's a hands-on blacksmith game being published by Fast Travel Games. It's supposed to be pretty polished, and if you're into that sort of crafting stuff, you probably will like this. For my taste, I prefer my games to have a bit more variety and depth to them. This seems like a one piece of a larger, very cool game to me, but it's missing all the other pieces.
Yeah.
in my opinion. Taskmaster VR comes out this week. This is a VR adaptation of some kind of a quiz show game that I'm not familiar with. I'm sure there are people out there going, "Why you don't know what Taskmaster is?" No, I don't know what it is. Sorry. Downtown Club Racing goes into early access on Quest this week. This actually looks pretty cool, Roots. This Downtown Club, it's the first car racing game on Quest that doesn't look like ass.
Really? What's the racing look like?
Looks pretty good. You can click on it if you want to. There should be a trailer on there. Oh, wait a minute. No, we're on. No, it doesn't. It just brings you over here. You can check it out on Quest Store. It looks pretty good. I mean, obviously it's not Gran Turismo or anything, but the cars look realistic. They have a really good reflection effect on the windows that make it look borderline like it's not even a standalone game. But the environments look kind of Quest. It's a good looking game. It's not a great looking game, but it looks like it's fun, and it supposedly handles pretty well. So that one could be worth a look. And then last but not least, PlayStation VR 2 this week gets Retropolis 2. Never Say Goodbye. Roots, we checked this out on Quest last week. Very impressed with it. I can't wait to see this art inside the PSVR 2 headset.
Yeah, me too. Is it coming to Steam or no?
I think it's already on Steam.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's already there. Yeah. Anyway, that's what's out this week. I also wanted to take a moment to recognize some updates that came out last week while we were away. We didn't do a show last week, but a couple significant updates.
The gods take everything from mortals.
Bleed these lands dry.
Deny spirits their rightful passage.
Turn worlds to ash. You allowed Loki to deceive you. Now his chaos reigns. The universe demands a guardian. And with each possession, you will grow stronger.
Oh, dutiful guardian, here to right your wrongs. Place you can hide. Your fate is mine.
Asgard's Wrath 2 finally gets the long-awaited Quest 3 upgrade. I gotta say, Roots, I'm pretty impressed with what they did here. I didn't. The changes are more subtle. I expected them to go the direction that that most developers do, and they go over the top on certain character models and things, and they do it to the point of kind of destroying the performance in the process. But the changes here, while noticeable, are more subtle. They're changes in the textures and things that didn't have any detail before now have a lot of detail. You have they do have a choice here, because I do think if you take all of the visual upgrades, then doesn't get the bump to 90 hertz. It stays at 72 like the Quest 2 version. But it's not necessary because now they have the 90 hertz version as well. So it's a setting that you can toggle, so you can kind of decide where you want your extra performance to go. Do you want to put all of these little details into your environment, or do you want to have those 18 extra frames every second? I think it's pretty cool.
That is cool. You could almost do that with shadows.
Right, that's a good point.
But I think it's awesome. Like Chatty's excited in the chat, and like for people that have Quest 3, like you said, to be able to play this game and have it look even better, but you don't have to sacrifice anything. Because that's my biggest gripe these days. It's like, okay, yeah, I want it to look better, but I don't want it to run worse. So I think it's good, and it does look really good.
Yeah, it was a good looking game to begin with. Like it was a very good looking game.
Very
even
good.
on Quest 2. Yeah, this is the one, man. This is the thing that Meta really has going for them. I mean, we've gotten some good games. You know, we got the Assassin's Creed game and some others. This is the flagship right here. This is the one that sets the standard for standalone VR, and the fact that it's on Quest 2 is amazing.
Sets the standard until September or whenever Batman comes out, right?
Well, that remains to be seen, man. That remains to be seen. They've got it to prove. This is an impressive game. There are players that have 200 and 300 hours in this. They keep cranking out new content for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So yeah, I think that we might see some new heights graphically on some of these games that have been announced for Quest 3. I don't know in terms of content if we'll see anything anytime soon that can compete with this. This has got a lot of content and a lot of depth. This is just, again, this is the pinnacle of standalone VR today.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving on, I think we have one more update that we want to bring a highlight to, and much like this one, this is something we've been alluding to a little bit here lately.
Now exiting this OS installation. We hope you have a productive day.
Everything out here is about building, about creation. I want something different.
Under starry skies above. Don't speak. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't
I can make you into whatever we need. You gotta be light, fast, tall, strong, heavy. Everything's possible for Lava Gang.
wanna ride to the ridge where the west commences.
The long-awaited legendary Bonelab's Patch 4 has arrived. This is a significant update, Roots, that brings enhancement for Quest 3. It brings updates for modding. It brings updates to the game physics. It even brings updates to the control system, Roots, making it more user-friendly than the original Bonelab was. People have been waiting a long time for this update. It's finally here, and it makes an already great game even better.
And you can play Boneworks in it. Right? Like, that just happened too. So, like, there's all sorts of reasons to go back into this game. I'm watching that trailer, and I'm, like, seeing all sorts of shit I never did. I never rode the go-kart. I didn't do the mine cart shit. I never made it that far. So,
yeah, no, this just reminds you, right, that there's so much stuff in the backlog that we just skimmed over, like Hitman 3. We left a lot of meat on the bone, a lot of stuff we never messed with, and I think the same is true of Bonelab here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I thought I would herald that to the masses because, again, a lot of people have been looking forward to this, especially modders and Quest 3 users. It is here, and I think they said the next 2 or 3 updates are already being worked on as well. So more to come for Bonelab for sure.
Crazy.
Anyway, let's look at some viewer comments. Black Market Honey says, "Great show, gents. The Max Mustard code was hidden in the Richie's Plank elevator. There's a small screen playing the game trailer, and next to it, written with a Sharpie, it says, 'Don't put your head in the screen.' So, of course, you do. And the code is on the poster in a secret room. Really cool and extremely generous. I sent this code out to 9 people of all ages, and only one of them bought the game. What does this say? I was surprised that more of them didn't buy it for the stash. I don't know, Roots. What does this say? If they're practically giving this thing away at $3 and people still aren't going in to get it, what do you think that says about this game?
I don't know, man. It's not people's bag or something. You know, maybe they don't like platformers. Maybe they the marketing they didn't do a good job marketing. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it makes you wonder because everybody when we first saw this game, everybody said the same thing. This game looks really cool. I don't know about the name. Max Mustard is not a good name, and the character is rather plain and unassuming. It's like she looks like Dora the Explorer with orange clothes on or yellow clothes. I think that it could be as simple as that because I feel like everyone that's like a VR enthusiast knows about this game. They're excited about this game. They're going in and they've already bought it and played it.
Right.
I feel like where the disconnect might be here is with the casuals, the people who don't have their finger on the pulse, which, by the way, is most VR gamers. Maybe they see Max Mustard on the store and they just keep scrolling.
Maybe they just give her pink and blue hair. You know, that would be enough. I don't know. Hey, I think definitely or like a little fox or something. You know, something something
cute.
Which is kind of weird that would be something so simple, but.
Yeah, but we don't really understand the intricacies of marketing, right? These evil people on Madison Avenue have it down to a science. They know how to entice us through things that we never notice or would even understand.
Right.
And I think that's the only thing I can come up with here because it's not the game. The game is amazing. And everyone that talks about it says that. So obviously there's a disconnect here somewhere. And then it's just not resonating with casuals as of right now.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That's a good question. Somebody was asking that's a good point. Somebody was asking if anybody knew what the update was from Genotype on PSVR 2. Do you by chance know? I was just trying to look it up.
Not today's update. Okay. I imagine it's probably quality of life stuff. They've already did all of the significant updates to the game already. So it's probably bug fixes, quality of life stuff, if I had to guess. But I don't know.
Yeah. No, I only saw it because it's such a good game. And Gabriel, or no, it was Silver Nexus says female protagonists aren't selling well. It's not really a protagonist, right? Like, I don't know. I think a good character is a good character, female, male, white, black. It doesn't matter what race, doesn't matter what color, or what gender, as long as it's a good character, I think.
That's true. But when you think about it, most of the main characters in these platforming franchises are male. But with that said, most of them we've seen over the last 5 years or so make it so that there are parts of the game where you can at least switch characters to play the female.
Yeah, it got to be that chick with kicking and stuff.
Ratchet and Clank, same thing.
That's true.
So yeah, maybe they should have done it that way. Maybe they had Max be a dude, and then they could have Marcia Mustard be the lady. Katie Ketchup. Ketchup.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Rickeron7593 says, thanks, I bought Max Mustard for $3. It was on my list. I'm disappointed that a good game like that had a hard time selling. I like the idea that checkpoints are unlimited lives. I love platformers, but I have a tendency of going halfway and then getting stuck, and after 20 times of trying, I quit the game. There should be an option that you can have as many lives as you want. Sackboy seems awesome. Now that's on my list. Discount places like CD Keys and others do have great discounts, even with newer games. If I was a religious person, I would say thank God for UEVR. I don't want to fool with modes like Luke Ross. If someone figured out how to do one-click mods on mini mods that's not UEVR, I would be willing to pay for that monthly, even more than what Luke Ross charges. To be fair, the Luke Ross mod is simple. It's not hard. It's not like some of these other things like WoW or some of these other mods. Literally, you're copying and pasting a folder into your game's root directory. And your game's root directory is typically pretty easy to find in your Windows Explorer. After you do that, you double click on the executable. A little window pops up to ask you what graphics preset you want, low, medium, high. You tell it, it runs a little bit of a thing, and then you close the window. You're done, modded. So, I know that's more than just the one click of the UEVR, but it's not a lot more. And there are a lot of click and drag mods out there that are quite easy. Like Firewatch, for example, I think was just a click and drag.
Yeah.
So yeah.
True. Whoa, why does my thing sound so weird? That was weird.
I don't know. Let's take 20 minutes and troubleshoot.
Let's do it. What do you think about Karen Custard as the name? Yeah, there you go.
Feels good.
Yeah. Or Kim Ketchup.
There you go. Love it. Steve Fractals says, I think Sony are saving the Astro VR announcements for their showcase later in the year. I hope you're right. It could be. Maybe.
What do you think the community's reaction will be like at some point? Obviously most people will be happy, I guess, but there's going to be some people not happy being jerked around. I don't know.
I think most people will be elated if that happens.
Oh, I was going to say, he sounded like he's got some inside scoop the way you said that. Let's start a rumor, Wes. Oh my God, you heard it here.
I really don't. I'm done speculating in their favor, man. Like, I'll be real about what the possibilities are and say that it could still happen.
Right.
But I'm not happy with them right now, man. That they piss me off.
Well, they've kind of painted themselves in a light to where if you're actually being if you're looking at things the way they are, like they're just not painting a good picture. So it's starting to become more probable to the things we don't want versus before you could be optimistic, right? There was not too much track record to say, okay, that, they're fucking things up, but they've just been doing such bizarre things. So
we'll see. Maybe they pull it out in the end like Matlock.
Yeah, maybe.
Macho, the real estate game cat says, this is my first time catching a Virtual Strangers show.
Oh.
And great to see GT as a guest here too for my first episode. Great topic, great game, great show, and coverage, guys. Subscribed. Yeah, we've picked up probably 15 subs since Saturday off the strength of our Behemoth episode. For those of you who didn't see it, we showed new footage of Behemoth this past Saturday, and we had our good friend Gamertag VR come on and talk to us about it. So if you haven't checked that out, be sure to go check it out. And thank you, Macho, for the subscribe.
Yeah, for real.
Simplex, as always, huge props for the timestamps. As always, this is 100% VR SpryGuy. Shout out to VR SpryGuy for doing yeoman's work. We appreciate you and we love you. And shout out D, by the way, who never wastes any time getting our podcast up on audio platforms of your choice.
You just reminded me too. Like she messaged me or told me, messaged me earlier in the kitchen. She's like, "Hey, did you get that thumbnail to me?" I was like,
on it, bro.
Yeah. I gave her a snarky response. I said, "Can you post it right now? Because the show's not up yet." But but now she's got it.
She always asks me while I'm still on the air, like, "Can I get the thumbnail?"
You're like, "I'm busy." But yeah, no, we appreciate both of you, 100%.
Kinetron Omega 2487, great show as always. Was just wondering, would it be possible to have mixed reality fighting, such as Mortal Kombat, or any other, where you bring the characters into your house, but control the fighters with the controllers? Heck, maybe even do your fatalities with your own hand. So he's talking about having like a standard fighting game with gamepad style controls, but using mixed reality, have it happen like on your table or something.
I think that would be kind of cool. See, that kind of stuff to me sounds cooler than, you know what I mean? Or even like playing a platformer, right? Like, right in front of you, and I don't know. There's cool uses. There's a platformer called Demeter that I would love to check out. People have said it's really good. And I don't know about fighting games. Like, I don't know if there are any already, but I guarantee you there are some in development. Quantar comes to mind. It doesn't have mixed reality, but it is that third person, gamepad style fighting game in VR. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Quantar do like a mixed reality mode at some point. But if they don't do it, somebody else is definitely going to. Right, absolutely. Mepper says he watched one reaction video for Sony's show, and they said the game looked cool or interesting, but then I saw it was VR. All VR games are like tech demos. And that mentality, and that could be exactly why I had even brought up the fact that maybe they left VR off of Astrobot.
Yep.
Because there is that mentality. A lot of people, they just will not give it a shot if it's in VR. And so,
and that might be why they're waiting, right? Like if they have it in there and they're not announcing it, and I mean, they're launching this thing in September, at the beginning of September. If this is going to cost them even 10,000 sales, it's a $60 game. You know what I mean? Like that's a significant amount of money. So why not just hold off on that announcement? Let the flat gamers get excited about it, buy in, and then we say, well, here comes the VR mode in November. Or
you thought we screwed you over? We got you, VR players. I want to hear it, Wes.
Very possible.
Yeah, it is possible. We're not saying it's probable, but it is possible. And that makes sense. It to me, logically makes sense. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen that way, but I could see that conversation happening, So.
How many things have logically made sense to us about what Sony might do that turned out to be the exact opposite of what they do?
Almost everything. So yeah, it's pretty sure it's not coming. But until it comes out and we're like 6 months down the road and everyone's like, "See Roots," and I'll be like, "Yeah, dude, I played it flat and it was fucking awesome." And Wes is like fucking ready to punch me. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm not playing it. Only in VR. Main fan. I didn't like Madison VR, and I finished it.
Oh wow.
I guess I have no reason to try Overdark if Madison is way better. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Overdark is a very different game than Madison.
Right.
Madison is way better. If you didn't like Madison, I think you're the one guy that didn't like Madison.
Now,
So,
you know what he is? Aim fan is like legit the finisher. Like, hey, like he finishes almost every game that I've ever heard him start. I give him props for that because I'm the opposite. I'm the non-finisher. I start so many games and then I move on to something else. So I do actually think playing through something is a feat. So it's cool.
so kudos to you for finishing it. He said he didn't think it was scary. I think he left a comment last week said he didn't think it was very scary. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Sorry. Overdark's cool. It's like a Resident Evil style puzzle game. It's more like a standard like flat game style of game than like Madison is. Even though Madison came from being a flat game, it's more like an old school flat game.
Right.
Overdark. It has some cool moments. It's not nearly as scary as Madison was.
And Looper says, I question his soul. Me too. Yeah.
We move along to this week's Wishlist segment. This is where we ask you all to take just a moment of your time to help support these awesome developers by joining us in real time as we all go together and wishlist something cool. And Roots, I did something different this week. I'm wishlisting a game that we didn't even mention during the episode, and that game is Thrasher. Because while I was finishing up the cutting room floor, it was announced that Thrasher is coming next month to Meta Quest. This is the follow-up game to Thumper. This is from the Thumper developers. And it's a very different game in terms of how it's played, but it is very similar looking in terms of visuals. It has that same sound and look that Thumper had.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, looking forward to it. Coming July 25th. It is already up for pre-order. It's a $20 game. You can pre-order it for $18 right now. And I'm not going to do that because I don't pre-order anymore, but I am going to wishlist 100% right now.
Right. Yeah, wishlist for sure. Pre-orders suck. Just because I've had it's kind of the same reason I don't do contracts anymore, Wes, for phone companies or cable or anything else. Like, hey, you want a contract? Oh, I can pay more to not have a contract? Yeah, I'll do that option. Because when you fuck up, I want to tell you, screw you. What's that?
Most of the time you pay less to not have a contract.
That hasn't been. Usually when I look into it, they try to get me into a contract, and whatever their contract is, I'm not interested. I don't care what it is.
What I mean is, no, obviously, if you decline the contract with a company, they're going to make you pay some other way. But if you go to another company that's not based on contracts, typically their prices are lower.
Oh yeah.
For example, this whole internet deal that I just got hooked up. I did also get home like hardline phone with it because that's just part of my old internet package. I wanted to go ahead and bring it over. They were surprised because everybody just gets mobile these days. Nobody gets hardline phone. But they asked me if I wanted to switch my mobile carrier over. They told me that they would give me $20 off of my internet if I switched over my mobile. It costs more to go on their mobile phone contract than it costs for just one line, one phone. It costs more to go on a contract for that one phone than I pay per
for
month
everybody
for my 4 phone plan that's prepaid through Boost Mobile. I pay $40, $10 per phone for unlimited talk and text and 2 gigabytes each of high-speed data. Can't beat that. You can't beat that, and there's no contract.
Well, I'll tell you what, where you can't beat that. You can't beat that when you have kids. Because I'll tell you what, man, Hey, the 2 gigs, you better make that last, because that if there's an option to go over, and if they do, well, then it goes that shit's expensive.
Yeah, I know. I used to work for AT&T, or not AT&T, but Sprint, and that's how we would get people, or with data overages.
Right.
And
I always
they'd
just
run
get
it up.
unlimited for myself, because I'm watching
but-
YouTube videos, or on all sorts of stuff.
I work out of home. I'm on Wi-Fi all the time.
Right, you don't need it now, dude.
But
$40 is
I did
steal.
run out. I ran out when I was living at the airport a couple weeks ago. It was $10, I think, to buy 2 or 3 more gigabytes. It's the
That's
only
not
time
too
I've ever
bad.
had to do it.
That's
No,
not
it wasn't
bad.
bad.
Especially for an emergency where you're stuck in the middle of an airport, that sucks.
The airport that had broken Wi-Fi. Those motherfuckers.
Yeah, what a shit storm, man.
That reminds me, I never did call United back and demand my money.
Yeah, and just say, you know what? Just give it to me. That works. Just get louder and really rude. No, actually, I'm not a big fan of that. I think being polite is the way to go. And if that doesn't work, then it's not meant to be.
Assume Thrasher will come to PSVR 2. Those colors will really pop, says Old Dog. I would assume that too, but there's no word of it in the press release. They said that it would be coming to Steam VR later this year.
That's another thing that we're not talking about. Like, and I don't know about Thrasher, but that's 3 major titles now. 3 major Hitman, Batman, and Aliens, right? All 3 clearly money's been paid to be exclusive, because we've said, like, you're cutting out, you're having to prepay those companies for the loss of games that they would have sold. And so, like, Meta's actually showing that they're supporting their platform in a major way that other Sony's not, for lack of pointing fingers. At least not in this way.
I don't know that Thrasher's only on Quest.
No, well, not but not I'm saying I don't know about Thrasher, but those other 3, that's 3 bangers, right? And Hitman just came out of nowhere. So what else is in the works? They may not be putting out like PC bangers, but they seem to be doing the same thing that they were doing with PC, but now on Quest. So.
And Looper says Alien is not exclusive. It's coming to all platforms. Yeah, I think what you're talking about Quest 3 versus Quest 2, Quest Pro.
Right. They're just making the Quest 3 exclusive. Clearly it's still on those other platforms, but Meta still paid them money to go exclusive onto that platform for them, for excluding Quest 2 and Pro. And that shows me they're supporting that platform in a different way than they have in a while, right? So
anyways, I think that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. We did it, Roots. We finally
we
made it through.
we did, and I just want to clarify one more time, because people don't seem to be getting it. I'm not saying it's not on the other platforms. I'm just saying that it's not going to be on my Quest Pro. It's not going to be on Quest 2. So Meta paid them money to subsidize the loss of sales. I guarantee it. They didn't just decide, you know what, we're not going to make this game Quest 2 and Quest Pro. Meta said, we'll give you X amount of dollars to do this. And they said, sold. So
there you go. You're right. Subscribe, ladies and gents, if you haven't already. We're doing these shows twice a week, and we're doing stuff that you can't get anywhere else. So if you like the shows, click the thumbs up, click the subscribe, ring the bell. We're going to be back on Saturday playing some more games. It might be Hitman 3, it might be Bonelab, it might be another mod, or it might be all of those. Whatever it is, it's going to be a good show. If you're already subscribed, support us on Patreon if you have the money. We lost a couple this week, Roots. I'm going to have to redo the outro. We lost 2 patrons this week. Times are tough. We get it. But for those of you who are still on the team, $3 per month, that's all we ask. We give you our weekly show notes. We give you exclusive content insider updates. You get your name in the ticker at the end of the show, and we appreciate you for making things possible that otherwise would not be. So thank you, patrons. And thank you everyone who left tips in the chat today. We appreciate you as well.
And thank you, Servios, for having such high standards that you just want to make sure that the Quest 2 isn't the least common denominator, and you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart to lose those sales. Because we really love that you have that good a heart as a company. Because I think that's probably not likely.
You know, Ruuts, how are you going to do an Aliens game without real-time shadows?
Yeah, that's true. You got to have real-time shadows for sure.
Oh, yeah, we get it. Well, thank you to everyone who donates, but we understand if you can't donate. Times really are tough right now, and believe me, I know it. I've been looking for a lawnmower, Ruuts. Like, lawnmowers cost 3 times what they did last time I had to buy one.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Everything's like that now, though. So if you don't have money to donate, it's cool. Come and join us on Patreon. It's free. Not Patreon. Patreon's not free. Discord is free.
Discord's free.
Discord is free. There's an invitation link in the description down below. This is where we hang out 24/7, 365. Talking a lot about PC hardware lately. A lot of people getting ready to make the move over. Talking flat games, talking VR games, talking about life in general all the time. So come join the conversation. Come join the family. Once again, it's free. We'll see you over there. And with that said, friends, we'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you Saturday. Bye.
Stay easy.